Hello, everyone, and welcome to Gamer's Ledge. I am one of your hosts, Mark, but I'm also a player in CyberPunk Red. And these are the preparation episodes. Episode 1, the building of Lumens Neuvo. A bit of housekeeping and warning. Unlike every other show on this channel, this will be an adult conversation with adult language. You have been warned. And with that, I will turn it over to our DM, Daniel. Hi, Daniel.
Hey, how's it going, guys? Am I coming through?
Yes.
Awesome. As Mark said, we are going to be running a game of CyberPunk Red. This is a game that takes place about 30 years-ish before Cyberpunk 2077, which is a video game coming out December 10th. It's going to take place in a different city, and we are going to have between 1 and 6 players usually. For players, we have Mark, Naomi. Say hi, Naomi.
Hi.
Hi, Naomi.
We have Billy. Say hi, Billy.
Hey.
And then we have a couple more people who may be late or not attending today. So, leading up to when this game will actually occur, we are planning on having several broadcasts on character creation, a couple more on city building, and a couple study groups for going over the rules like combat, net running, which is this version of hacking, and the like. So look forward to those in the future. But for tonight, we are going to be world building as a group for the city of New Orleans. Or Old Orleans, or Lumens Nouveau, as a lot of the new people who have moved into that area have been. I'm going to go over a little bit of history in just a little bit so that we can kind of get a feel for what has brought us to this point, and then how the city was rebuilt, and then we can start talking about what you as players might want to see kind of shown in this with the different districts, businesses, corps, gangs, NPCs, bars, dives, dining establishments, all of the above. Hopefully, all of you out there will know at least a little bit about what cyberpunk is. But in case you don't, it's a dystopian future where corps have taken over and flashy, mostly obvious cyberware or enhanced prosthetics have become commonplace. You can hack into the net using a computer in your brain and download all of the goodies there. There are some differences between this cyberpunk universe and some others, which we'll be going over in the next couple of weeks after and maybe a little during the holidays. As a GM, I'm also going to be putting together some shorter pieces of info and dropping them on the site so that you guys will have some more little morsels and tidbits of what I'm looking at behind the screen. Okay, so as a starter, if I could have you as players, or those of you at home, open up Google Maps and go to New Orleans, because we're going to be looking at a map of New Orleans now, so that you can kind of understand where I'm going with the map that I made. Also, I'm going to do a quick shout out run through of Cyberpunk's history, this world, leading up to it, because this is in fact an alternate world. It split from ours, kind of, in the 1990s. There have been several wars. One of them fought in South America, very similar to the war that we fought in Iraq for the same resources. There have been several corp wars as the corporations started taking over land and bidding for things. The people behind the throne in America kind of banded together, and overall there ended up being a huge economic collapse in the 90s, early 2000s, which completely decimated most of America. That coupled with trade and a lot, and how the corps were kind of vying for power, meant that it changed the world. In this world, we see a lot of tech upgrades a lot faster than we have in our world here, such as cybernetics, the ability to jack into a form of essentially the internet. And a couple of years ago in the game, there was a massive attack with a virus that was specifically targeting hackers that had their minds plugged in, and ended up collapsing that internet. So now the internet is essentially like local area networks or personal area networks that the hackers in the game have to be close to in order to interact with. That also meant that a lot of corporations saved a lot of their secrets, because as you know, right now, the right hacker with the right information and the right social networking can get a lot of secrets from a lot of corporations they shouldn't be able to. And so in this other world, that's not as easy. Okay, so New Orleans, rising tide waters. I might actually just read it so that everybody's on the same page. Is that okay with everyone?
Sure. If you want us to read too, happy to help.
I might do that actually. Are you okay reading some, Billy?
It might be a little bit more complicated for me to do that, so I
Okay.
don't know if tonight would be the best night
No,
for that.
you're good. You're good. I'll have Mark and I go over the most of it. Okay,
And-
Mark. I'm
And
gonna
do
give
you do you want me to expound a little bit on kind of what's happened to the United States to
Yes,
set
please.
the backstory? Okay,
Please do.
so who was the vice president under Bush? The one that
That's
ran
something I should know.
the weapons company. My brain's just stopped working. I just went to go think
Which Bush, senior or junior?
of it. Junior.
Oh, it was
White hair.
Yep. He shot the guy when they went
yeah.
out hunting.
Yep.
Dick
The
Cheney?
senator.
Dick Cheney, thank you.
Dick Cheney.
So basically, what happened is at its peak, with corporations investing more and more and kind of taking over, it was as if Dick Cheney got together with the head of the CIA, the FBI, and the DEA, and they formed a good old boys club while the president was kind of clueless at the time, and just took buyouts and bribes for everything. It pretty much destroyed the federal system. Anyone that opposed against them suddenly found themselves in prison with no trial, things of that nature. And so basically these four guys under the vice president managed to almost wreck the economy further than it was already having problems with, from environmental problems like the bread belt completely turning into like the 1920s with the droughts and things of that nature. So the center of America kind of has rotted out, and because of all this corruption, you saw states like California separate from the Union. The North, Oregon, and the Northwest states did the same, and then even some states in the South, Texas, etc., they all became their own countries. It was no longer the United States anymore; it was the ununited states. And if you were west of the Mississippi, basically it was no man's land, and it still is to this day for the most part. But what that also meant is that you saw these megalopolises form, and the most famous one is Night City, which is actually right where Daniel and Naomi live in San Luis Obispo. It's kind of right on the border of northern and southern California. You saw that one. There's still East Coast megalopolises, and I believe they're somewhere in Texas. There might be one as well. New Orleans is still here, but as Janie was going to show you, it's very different today because there was a lot of poverty, people who had no food. And anyways, to long story short, just so that he can get back to his part about New Orleans, the biggest thing that you need to take away from what these four guys did with all this power is they started to try and attack Central America. Central America, especially the DEA, it had rubbed them the wrong way for years that all the drugs were coming from Central and South America into the United States, and so they actually started waging wars in Central America that was like Vietnam, in that there was no defined winner. And what happened is basically they had all these cybernetically enhanced soldiers that they had signed up for the military. They sent them down there for war, and then when it wasn't an immediate victory against the drug cartels, they just left them. And so it created this huge distrust of the government from its own people, from its own military, and that actually eventually led to them being overthrown and ejected out of power by a singular woman who served in the military, and she has now made the United States a autocracy.
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah, where pretty much she rules the United States that is still united, and then everyone else kind of has their own thing that they do. And it's this balancing act of how much do you want to recognize the federal authority versus being your own independent state. Is that a good summary?
Yeah, I mean, there is a lot of stuff that happens in between what Mark said. There are several fan sites and timelines that are very good, and we can actually attach a link of this both in the homework folder and also, I'm sure somewhere on the stream somewhere. But definitely look that up if you're at all interested. There are several videos online, especially now with the new game coming out, that people have gone through and dissected a lot of the history. It's really interesting. All of that bloody battle, coupled with the corporate wars that have torn apart other places, meant that places like even Night City, where the video game is going to take place, saw a tactical nuke go off. So stuff like that happens. Specifically in the South, a lot of the southern states have banded together into their own section called Dixie. And that kind of has its place in what Mark and I are going to be reading. Mark, if you can go to the drive, the CyberPunk Red drive, in the GM stuff folder.
Hold on one second. Sorry, I was
No.
not prepared for that. My bad.
No, you're good.
I'm getting
Sorry.
there. No, you're fine.
I tried to copy and paste what I was going to have you read, and it did not go.
Of course not. All right, so I'm in the CyberPunk Red folder.
And then in the GM folder.
Okay, GM stuff.
And then the file that's in there.
Yep.
And then scroll down to the bolded part that says the social situation.
You don't mind me screen sharing this, do you?
No, that's fine.
Okay.
We're about to read it.
All right.
And then
I'm trying to get to that same location to actually help out as well, but I'm just seeing Cyberpunk stories and ideas. Is that where I'm supposed to be going?
That's it. Yep.
Okay.
It's inside that document.
Well, we're not allowed in the GM section.
if he's gonna read, you can go in there, Naomi. I just looked through. There's no secrets in there.
Okay.
I haven't converted them yet, so you guys can follow along. That's fine.
I'm happy to, if I'm connected and if I'm in the right place, I'm happy to partake in the reading then.
Okay, so I'll have you start reading right now then, but in just a second. So I'll have you start at overview, Billy.
All right. So
And
overview.
I'll have you read until I'll say Billy stop. Billy stop.
Okay.
And start. So read till there if you're cool with that.
Sounds good.
And then I'll read there. Mark, I have you for the social situation.
Okay. Perfect.
Down to where it tells you to stop.
Okay.
Okay?
Yep.
All right. So go ahead, Billy.
All right. So overview. Formed after the collapse, a huge post-apocalyptic level economic crash in the U.S., Dixie is made up of the states of Alabama, Florida, Georgia, Louisiana, Mississippi, and South Carolina. Tragically, the deep South was hard hit during the collapse in the years following. Only the Northeast suffered worse. But the Southerners don't mind being down as long as them damn Yankees are still beneath them in the pig pile. Nowhere has global warming and the concurrent rising sea level caused more change than in the Deep South. Florida and Louisiana were hardest hit, losing incredible amounts of land. Mobile, Alabama also suffered, although its plight is nowhere near as well known as that of New Orleans. Ever since the arrival of Union troops and carpetbaggers a century and a half prior, the Deep South has never been known for its open-armed reception of the poor. Northerners in search of work, and this was never more true than during the collapse. Countless people seeking to get away from the sandstorms of the West, the rotting metropolises of New England, or the droughts of the Midwest flocked to the South in search of jobs, water, a nicer climate, or just someone they could kill for some ready cash. This massive influx caused incredible stresses in the social structure of the South. Interstate shipping fell apart, causing widespread hunger. Atlanta, by then, a very large city, felt the lack of shipping quite acutely and was the scene of the first flood riots. Soon food riots. Soon food riots were taking place in many cities where the haves were overwhelmed by the have-nots. Soon throughout the impoverished South, life became aware of a war of us versus them. Just who they were depended on the speaker, but after a while the dominant side became the poor native Southerners, and the primary target became them damn Yankees, defined as anyone born north of South Carolina. Over the next several years, there were occasional riots and plenty of civil unrest, as well as untold murders, some of them cannibalistic. The wealthy who did not have the foresight or resources to move north soon found themselves under attack and had their belongings stolen, confiscated, or burned.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you. Major industries moved their main plants out of the South during this time. Once the wealthy and the Yankees were eliminated, corporations became the next target of popular attack. A few smaller plants were overrun by mobs. One such plant providing a large portion of Jackson, Mississippi with new cars. Other plants were hit by wildcat strikes as workers demanded more pay for their work in an attempt to keep up with the skyrocketing food prices. Faced with these problems, most corporate executives chose to cut their losses and pulled their plants out with the help of foreign or scab labor. The industrial exodus left the South in even worse straits, as the unemployment statistics reached staggering highs. Eventually, unrest in the South started to be molded into a sort of grassroots rebellion. Under the leadership of several unscrupulous opportunists, all of whom knew each other, the mob anger so prevalent in the southern cities, began to be channeled into a political force like cattle being driven into slaughter. This eventually led, between 1998 and 2000, to the reformation of the state governments of Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, and Georgia, putting the ringleaders in power. In the words of Harv Paulson, famed political commenter, these governments are little more than legitimized hate groups, thriving in the South like tapeworms in a dog. South Carolina and Florida managed to keep the reactionaries from gaining control, and have politically moderate through effectual state governments. This, of course, leads to conflict within the southern states when voting on national issues, and since the states usually can't come to a consensus, the Dixie region does not exert much influence on national politics. This problem is only exacerbated by the grudges held by the Gulf Coast state governments, as they try to browbeat Florida and South Carolina into taking orders properly by voting against the federal program that might benefit these two states.
Dixie is poor, dirt poor. Only South Carolina has some modicum of economic wealth, and that's primarily because they tax all shipments that cross their state to the rest of Dixie. The wealthy and the landowners of the South have all been killed, robbed, or forced to move to other calmer states. All that remains are the poor and a few of the lower middle class who are trying to rebuild the southern economy. The state governments of Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, and Georgia are powerful, corrupt, and arbitrary, earning the four states the nickname Cotton Republics. The governments are Crionist, handing out concessions like party favors and passing laws to keep the rest of the citizens repressed. Collectively, these four tin horns have been satirized by political cartoonists as the Marx Brothers of the mid-20th century, comedy movies, or the menage a trois of the early 21st snuff sex film industry. Part of the way the Cotton Republics keep their citizenry down is through the Uniform Dixie Manufacturers List Code, a region-wide control system for items and substances the powers that be want to keep out of the hands of John Q. Public. Among the restrictions of the code are several laws which are anathema to most cyberpunks. For example, Dixie, with the exception of Florida, has the strictest gun control regulations anywhere in the states. The only weapons legal for the citizenry to carry are shotguns and .22 caliber hunting rifles, and these must be registered at an exorbitant fee. Those with the registered firearms also get a barcode tattoo on the back of their neck for identification purposes. Punishments for illegal weapons or tampering with the tattoo are extreme. Despite their efforts, though, there are still a lot of unregistered weapons in Dixie. No poor Southerner ever intends on giving up his ability to shoot possum when he needs to. Citizens are just careful to keep their weapons hidden, and they only use their rifles on police when they're certain they'll never be caught. In response, the police forces perform regular sweeps, searching house to house for unregistered weapons. Drugs, music, ammo, cyberware, and many other common items are also prohibited or restricted. This is a real problem when one considers that Dixie cops don't need a warrant or even probable cause to give you a full search. The governments are all networked to a greater or lesser degree, with the ties between the Cotton Republics being very tight. The other two state governments are weak, as they are plagued with backstabbing infiltrators and Cryanist sympathizers who hamstring any socially useful programs they try to create. For the most of the United States, public opinion does not go past Dixie's poverty and arrogant governments. Sadly, it should, for despite their low economic position and governmental repression, the typical Southerner is still gregarious, social, and generous. The rioting crowds that dominated the American media were an aggressive minority, and their sweeping path to power was, in large part, a media circus and a study in mob psychology. Most Southerners can't believe it happened to them, but all they can do is shake their heads while they till their desolate fields and look the other way when the sheriff drives by in his old-fashioned hovercar.
So now we talk timeline. Starting in 2034 to May 7th, 2042. Now that you have a feel for what we're looking at in Dixie, which is akin to the Dust Bowl, the early 1900s. It's not great. Late in 2034, a local boy turned corper at Petrochem by the name of Tom Sanderlin struck a deal with his rival at Conag to rebuild a pillar of light in the south, namely New Orleans. The small grouping created a shared cell. It's a merger offshoot they called Lumens, with the express purpose of rebuilding the devastated and destroyed city. After Lumens had built the infrastructure and raised much of the older buildings from the ocean floor, they recreated the city in Neuvo fashion. Other corporations soon followed, many making the same promises that Lumens had seen fulfilled. A job for every person willing to do their share, food for every table, euro in every pocket. While this payment wasn't much, the promise of coin and food in such an impoverished area meant loyalty for more than enough people to get New Orleans back on the map. Within 8 years, the city was completely rebuilt, citizens feeling like this was their home, and in a way, many of them had put their blood, sweat, and tears back into its construction. Like an American Vienna, is that right, Vienna? No, it's not Vienna.
Venice.
Much of the city is held out over the ocean on high-tech stilts and floating gardens. Bridges and boats in the waterways are just as commonplace as cars and bikes on the suspended roads up high. On clear days, one could look down into the water below and see some of Old Orleans, the city below the waves. Today, November 3rd, 2046. Just 4 years after the hollow ribbon was cut, much of the soul has returned to New Orleans. Parties are thrown with the same vigor and exuberance as the ones from stories old. With the brightness of hope also come shadows, and those come in droves. As the torch was raised and lit in this magnificent city, moths came too. Dirty, hateful moths from all over the South. Gangs and hate groups are in large number within the immigrating masses. Litter and graffiti cover much of the lower streets, and the folk that live there are the same type of folk you find in any lower city. The dirty, the destitute, and the desperate, and the despicable. Milcorp soldiers protect the streets for a price, but always enjoy testing their strength against the stubborn, so watch yourself. Stay safe out there. Stay out of Zulu territory. Those gangers ain't right. So, that is where we are sitting with New Orleans. It is also important to note that Dixie has a police force that is statewide, called the Rangers, the Dixie Rangers. You don't see them very much in Lumens Nouveau or New Orleans, because New Orleans is mostly a Miltech contracted, protected city. That being the case, if a ranger comes into the city, they still expect to see Dixie laws followed. They're not dumb in most cases, so they're not going to stop a cybered up guy who is obviously a threat, but they might look for a bribe to get paid to look the other way.
Can we ask questions during this, Daniel?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, so I have a question about this, because we know from the history books that Miltech was the United States government's kind of conscripted military force. So was that a decision by the Dixie government to humor the United States, or is this a separate contract that they've taken out with Miltech directly?
So, on the record, this is them trying to make good with some of the national contracts so that they don't look like they're only stubborn.
Got it.
Under the table, they are paying Miltech a separate for a separate contract to be more, ironically, militant. Because some of the laws that Dixie has are just ridiculous. They go back to Prohibition era craziness.
Right.
And Miltech, for the most part, are just contracts. They're independent contractors. So yeah, this is both. I guess my answer would be both.
Got it. Thank you.
Give me 1 second. Corpse. I'm gonna say law enforcement. Okay. For you guys, if we could also now open up a different file. It is in the CyberPunk Red folder under Homework and Themes. It is called Untitled Document. We're going to call it brainstorming. It's not called brainstorming.
What's it called again?
It should now be called brainstorming. But it's in the Homework and Themes folder.
Daniel, you don't by chance happen to remember the name of the... is it Conag? I don't think it's Conag. The one I told you, the foods one that I wanted in Lumens Nouveau.
I think it was like Pharmaco.
No, I'll find it. Give me...
You're going to have to find it.
I'll find it.
So I know you've been busy, Billy and Naomi, so you haven't been able to read as much as you've wanted to. So feel free to ask any questions. Mark and I have been reading quite a bit, and we can try to answer anything that we can to help with character ideas or what we're looking at. For tonight, what I'd like to do is look at the map I've put together of Future Nouveau, and then start talking about maybe some types of corporations, types of gangs, types of NPCs, different stuff like that we can add to this brainstorming document.
Just a quick question for you, Daniel. In the drive, I don't see the actual core document anymore, just the errata.
Oh, I moved it into players, I think. Oh, and of note, in case you guys didn't see it, if you have already downloaded the core book, and you didn't download it today, you're going to want to download the new one because it has errata that dropped today.
It is not there.
One moment.
Unless it's actually in the same as the errata. Is that the actual book with the errata? Or is that just the errata?
Where did I put you?
No, it's just the errata.
Oh, it's just in the CyberPunk Red folder. I'm sorry. I didn't put it in there for the story. I see. Oh, maybe it's not shared. No, that one's shared. Yeah.
Okay, it's there now. It's there now.
Okay.
It wasn't shared. I got it. Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Yep. I spelled that wrong. How about circuit and not circuit? What else? Gangs. And please tell me if it feels like we're throwing too much at you too. Mark and I have been talking about this pretty much nonstop for several days. So if we're going too fast, or if there's a subject you want to know more on, or if you feel like you just don't know what's going on, we can easily slow down and go over some of it.
I have a confession to make.
Yeah.
While you've been setting this up, I've been watching YouTube videos on the New Orleans accent.
Nice. I will not be attempting an accent.
That's amazing.
I think I might just stick to like the occasional word as opposed to pulling it off the entire time.
That's,
but hey,
that's
it might be
all
fun.
good. So another thing that I would love to see, and this is by no means a requirement, but in the horror book near the beginning, there's an area that has slang. I would love it if the players could use some slang during the game just to help give it that feel. I'm gonna try with my NPCs to do that, but again, it's not necessary, and you don't have to do everything. But just grab a couple words you like.
And the good news is the slang is pretty easy compared to some things that I've done in the past. It's not too bad.
All right.
Wait, did they redo the... Is the one you just shared, that's the one with the errata?
Yep.
Did they actually redo the layout of the book? I think they might have.
There?
Yeah.
Why do you say that?
The whole section with the corporations looks like it's been moved. I'm trying to find them now.
So in the, it says minor fixes have been fixed throughout the book, and it's mostly just numbers and stuff. They don't say anything about shifting any sections. I mean, it might have. They might have.
Neocorpse 264.
Okay. Okay, so a couple files you guys should have open. One should be the brainstorming Word document. The other should be I think they're called Google Sheets, called Lumens Nouveau / New Orleans. And it looks like a big glob of color, but I'll explain it in just a second.
Okay. Continental Brands. That's the one I am requesting.
Okay.
For
add it.
backstory purposes.
Add it.
I have so many windows, I don't know where anything is.
Okay,
All
she
right.
said it was.
Yeah, Continental Brands. And
Is
this,
it one?
it's 2 words, just like that.
Okay.
And so this is like,
Continental. Yeah.
these guys are real bitches. Basically, what they do is they go into an area and they basically give a community a I'm trying to remember what they call it. It's like a loyalty rating, right? Based on what the sales are there. And since they're the ones that actually make the kibble and stuff,
Oh wow.
so you need a good loyalty rating or they'll actually start screwing with you, like screwing with your community, to where they'll take like their least best selling product and that's all you can buy from them until you buy more than you were buying before,
Until we build up our loyalty.
until they build up your loyalty back again. And it's super douchebaggy.
Yeah, that's shady.
It's really, really bad. And they even, like, when they have known enemies against the company, they put wanted posters outside what they call their oases. Their oases are basically like what we would consider gas station, the little stores in the gas stations.
Yeah.
Which is exactly what it is, because for a lot of them, because they were part of Petrochem and actually did a hostile takeover of all their food stuff. So yeah.
Okay. Awesome. Okay, so the other file is the Lumens Nouveau map.
I do not see that.
So that is going to be in the homework folder. And it should be an Excel sheet, if you guys can get to it.
Yes. I don't know if there's a way to zoom this out so that I can capture it and put it on screen. Zoom view.
I can't. It doesn't seem like there's a way to zoom out, is there?
It's under view zoom and you can kind of zoom out.
Okay.
Daniel was very busy with Minecraft.
So, as this is an alternate universe that stemmed from the 90s, I figured I'd build it like the 90s.
You said it's in GM stuff?
No, sorry. It's in homework and themes.
Just kidding.
Which, oh,
No, I was in the wrong place. I just have a bad habit of saying just kidding when I'm clearly wrong. Okay, so I'm in homework and themes, and I got 2. I got brainstorming and then theme idea and fodder. That's all I see.
Here.
oh.
That's because he doesn't love you.
Jay's here.
Oh, Jay's here.
Hi, Jay.
What's up, Drickheads?
Hi, Jay.
Hello.
Don't call me a
Jay,
dreckhead or
Billy,
I'll
Jay.
flatline you.
Well, I heard we're supposed to use some slang, so I want to
We
give
are.
it a shot.
Oh, you've been listening for a while.
I've had Twitch open in the background, but I've just now been able to get this rolling because I've had a lot of computer issues lately.
I'm not sure why it's not showing up for you, Jay. Jay.
Billy.
Billy. Can you go back out and come back in? Maybe that's what Mark had to do for that
You know
file.
what? Well, let me do this. I'll open it in another window, and then, I'll just get link. Get link, copy link. It is restricted. Let me set it to anyone can view it. Hold on one second.
It's restricted?
It was, but I don't think it is now. I'm gonna throw this, Billy, in the CyberPunk OOC chat as soon as I find that window, because I have 9 billion windows for broadcasting.
So, Jay, do you have brainstorming open?
I am looking through the folder as we speak, pulling up relevant information. I don't know what subfolder it's in.
It's in
Homework,
homework and-
homework and themes.
Homework. Okay, that was my next spot.
Good job, by the way, Jay.
With?
You got your portrait on there.
Yeah, that took me 10 minutes.
I don't even know how to do it. So there's that.
Understand techie things.
You're gonna do great.
My character, on the other hand, he's more whiz than me, but I'm just kind of. Oh, I'm using the Zoom group chat as well. Is that cool or no?
Yeah, I mean that's fine. I'm
Oh, are you putting things in chat? Because
Nothing relevant, you know.
oh, okay.
all right. Are
I know
we able to?
Brainstorming is now up.
Wait, and do you see the Lumens Nouveau Excel spreadsheet or Google sheet?
I will in about 10 seconds.
Okay. Do you see the link, Billy?
Yeah, I've got the link and I'm actually in the map as well.
Awesome.
Oh, it's New Orleans.
Yes. So if you open a Google map of New Orleans and you look at my map, you can see that there are some definite similarities. Mostly the 10 and the pass that goes over Lake Pontchartrain, which are the three yellow lines. So the main river that flows through New Orleans has gotten larger and has eaten away at some of the area. And you can see around New Orleans on my map, a lot of the land has been turned into a vast archipelago.
Archipelago.
Yep. Where it's very small islands, not even large enough to really house a community. The different colors are the different quarters of New Orleans. I have not named any of them. I have a handful of businesses and a handful of corp headquarters, but I also have not put those anywhere because I wanted you guys to help me build it. So, as was stated earlier with history, the city was pretty much devastated between people moving out. They essentially what happened to Detroit happened to New Orleans times like 100. So there were very few people that remained living here, and as the coastal area started washing up and breaking down more and more of the ground, more and more of the city, when they rebuilt it, had to be put up on stilts. So a lot of these buildings, we're really far zoomed out. If we were to zoom in, you would see that there are small tributaries and rivers, just like, again, Mark, the name of the city? Starts with a V.
Venice.
Venice flows underneath a lot of the higher level cities. So if you can picture a cyberpunk city like Night City or really any from any of the main cybertech or cyberpunk cities, New Orleans in a lot of ways looks like that, especially in the downtown sectors. But that doesn't mean that the whole city does. There are huge districts where the buildings maybe go up as high as 5 stories and no further, because they are more industrialized or shipping industry, that kind of stuff.
Okay, so the one thing we have to have is the Old French Quarter, which I have selected on my map, which I think you can see too.
I think you have to change the color. Or is it here?
It's
Is
blue.
It's that?
I don't know.
I don't see your selections unless you change something. So you can type it in.
Okay, do you see that?
I do
It's-
not.
Okay, do you see the yellow, which I assume is the highway?
Yep. The yellow road that goes from west to east is the highway. Highway
Okay,
10.
so if you do AI 19,
AI.
You don't see French Quarter directly under where you just clicked?
That?
No.
Did it change color for anybody?
Like legit, you don't see it says French Quarter right there?
I don't. And oh, you know what? Hold on. Is there a way that I need to change this so that it can be edited by everyone?
Maybe?
I'm already editing it. And by the way,
'cause I can see the area that says this is French Quarter, and then there's a little red square, and then there's a little green square, and there's
I don't see that at all. That is super weird.
Yeah, I don't know.
if you do Alt ? And type Z, you can choose a zoom factor that may allow you to see more of it at once.
Alt ? And then
Z. It basically pulls up your zoom possibilities.
Yeah, I'm at 50% right now to try and fit most of the map on the screen.
Yeah, I went to 75 because I wasn't seeing anything either until I was like, oh yeah, I gotta move around.
Oh, see, I don't see any. I still don't see anything. That is super weird. Huh. But you guys can see it.
Yeah. So anyways, where you were clicking, are you that's Jay. There's Naomi's. I don't see your... Anyways. And you can't see our squares, Daniel?
Hold on. I'm going to close it and reopen it. I'm going to turn it off now again.
Okay.
Our internet's kind of
Oh, no.
sad because...
Oh, no.
What did you do?
I see everything that's texted, but nothing's in color.
Daniel is Cool Highway. Who wrote that?
It took me like...
It's still here. It's still here. I promise. Mine is still here. It's still color.
With red and blue and orange and purple.
Wait, I never saw red, blue, orange, and purple.
I know.
Yeah, neither did I.
It must not have saved. Okay, that's fine.
It's under a different tab. There's a city overview tab and then the first quarter tab.
We are on the city overview tab.
We're on the city overview tab.
My city overview tab was in color like the first quarter one.
Oh, just kidding.
Yeah,
weird.
It's fine. But on the first quarter one, those are the districts I was talking about. Those are the quarters I was talking about.
Understood. So the southeast.
If I'd known you guys, yeah.
The southeast of the purple quarter is the French Quarter. The old French Quarter of the old city.
Okay, so do you want to color that in the area that you would consider to be the French Quarter?
Sure. As soon as I figure out how to do that,
so
do that. I got it. I just had to find it. What color do you want me to color it?
Whatever color you want, because at this point we're breaking it down into sections.
Do you see that?
Well, yeah. Hold on. You colored some of the water.
I did. I can undo it. Undo.
You have to click by square.
That's whose idea is. Who?
In
Microsoft, you make a sucky paint program.
In the end, once this is filled in more, I'm planning on taking these and actually drawing cartography style a new map. This is just for us to edit.
Okay, so should I leave French Quarter there?
Yep.
Okay. All right.
Anybody else? I do. Let's change that to I-10.
Checking.
Yep. Nope.
Didn't know if they tore down the interstate and make it a redder highway or not.
So it is. There is still an interstate, and this is one of the few roads that cuts across Dixie that is in fairly good shape. Especially since the Corps came in and rebuilt New Orleans.
And what is the name of the lake you said it went past?
Oh, up top is Lake Pontchartrain. I spell it.
We've lost all of the viewers from that area. Pontchartrain. It's Pontchartrain.
So I'll say, because it probably needs saying for those of you that don't share my Facebook. Today is the sixth anniversary of my new tongue.
Yay!
Today is. So my pronunciations are going to be way off, just so that you guys know.
So 11/19 is New Tongue Day.
New
That is
Tongue Day.
correct.
Yep.
I
Okay.
usually make a cake and everything. It's like a birthday party.
Yeah.
I mean,
Appropriate for a
No
tongue.
brownies this time.
I would think that the sector around the French Quarter, I mean that whole purple sector, would be like the touristy section.
Where they like raised some of the old city and or rebuilt it to look like the old city.
Well, so that's not necessarily like the French Quarter. Yes, they would have had to have raised the old French Quarter, but the rest of it is like it's stuff like I don't know. I would think it needs to be futuristic-y, touristy, like the red light district, because it's the rest of it's like Lafayette Square and part of the 7th Ward, part of the I don't know. I mean, the section in Cyberpunk is so much bigger than the actual New Orleans section.
Yeah. This is building and I'm sure I'm gonna pronounce it wrong, but Metairie, which looks like it's a separate city.
Metairie.
Jefferson, Elmwood.
Yeah, Metairie. So I don't know if we want to go based on history or if we want to just make it something.
If the corporations are the ones that are rebuilding the cities, would they rebuild them differently? Like have residential areas and...
So because this was meant to be a shining example in the South, in Dixie, and they chose New Orleans for a reason, there will be some sections that have been raised from the floor, raised from the ocean and put on stilts that have been rebuilt and plussed up. So old,
like the docks.
Yes, like Old Orleans is going to be, even if it's not in the same spot, it's going to be part of the city. But the majority of the city is going to be cyberpunk corporate, like behind me, the picture behind me.
Okay, so they're going to have like a touristy old town, something to show off to everybody. But the rest, we're going to go from there. I did have one question just because there is some really cool stuff in New Orleans. What role does religion and faith and stuff like that play in this time frame?
So Naomi, what role does religion or faith play in this time frame? Like that's the answer. There's going to be the same kind of faith that you're going to find nowadays, but it's going to be altered a little bit, just like faith now has been altered a little bit from 100 years ago or 200 years ago. But for this specific section, that's part of what we're talking about today, is little things, details that are interesting that I wouldn't have thought of, and I wouldn't have thought of that.
Yeah, because I was thinking like a good, awesome looking church would probably be something that they would want to bring back as kind of a...
So there is...
Can I add one other thing to the mix?
Yeah.
How about a good chunk of the French Quarter being touristy, and then maybe a third or quarter of it starting it being like you reference Voodoo territory.
Mm-hmm.
Like just kind of have a little bit of it kind of connected to that as well.
I like that.
So the two, I mean, theoretically, I'm trying to find. Google Maps is not cooperating with me. There is a beautiful church, the largest church down in that area, for you, Naomi, that they would have raised, and I'm trying to find it. As soon as I find it, I will throw it in there.
Thank you.
But Lafayette Square, I'm pretty sure is the one I'm thinking of. That should be ground zero for Voodoo territory.
And is that near the French Quarter?
That's what I'm looking up right now. Okay. Exactly where it is.
You said Lafayette?
Lafayette Square. Yeah.
How do you spell that?
Lafayette. Ayette. New Orleans. Maps. Show me exactly where it is. Okay, so there's Lafayette Square. So Lafayette Square is...
It seems to be more towards the
South.
south end of.
Yeah, it's the south end of the French Quarter. And actually, the St. Louis Cathedral is the one I was thinking of. I'm almost...
Why don't we expand
Yep.
the French Quarter?
Let me...
Okay, and if you think about it, it'd be kind of cool if there was a deal that the church had with these gang members, that kind of a
Ooh.
sanctuary and something, so that the gang doesn't mess with the church and the church doesn't mess.
What's the name of the church? Did we find out?
It'd be the St. Louis Cathedral.
Cathedral, yeah.
And it
Also
is
the
actually...
Cathedral Basilica.
Yeah, also the
Ooh,
Cathedral
yeah.
Basilica, and I believe those are both Catholic churches, and
Yeah,
that is
I
not
mean-
something.
How you spell
Yeah.
Oh, you put it there. Thank you. Thank you
Yes,
for writing
thank
that
You're
out.
welcome.
I mean, that's not something that goes away quickly, no matter how much time passes or how shitty things get. In fact, it'd probably be even stronger.
So is that the same thing? Is Cathedral Basilica of St. Louis and the St. Louis Cathedral, is that the same thing?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Okay. I'm writing it into the brainstorming. That's why I asked. So I love your idea, Billy, of having a gang associated with it. I don't know if Zulu would be the right one for it. So let's come up with a good gang that
I'm sorry. What is Zudu? That's easier.
Okay, so I have it in the brainstorming document, but it is tattooed, cybered up booster gangs with animal themes and cyberware. So like maybe one has tattoos like a cheetah, and it has cyberware that makes it look kind of like cyberware cheetah legs or clawed hands, that kind of stuff.
Okay, so not voodoo.
Yeah, not voodoo.
What?
But they practice. The reason it's Zulu is because they're animal themed, but they also harken back to voodoo faith in this area. That's why they're here and not in Night City or New York or wherever. So they're both.
So let's take this the opposite direction. All right, so we want a voodoo gang, which it could be called the Voodoons, it could be called the Voodoo Gang, whatever, because it's all basically the same thing. The
Okay.
question is, how would those beliefs and or technology manifest itself in this world? Would they be hacker? Could they be like the Jamaicans in Night City, that are not actually a gang, but they're like a urban legend? Like Marie Laveau leads these voodoo worshippers across the night streets of New Orleans, Lumens Nouveau, or is it a case where it's actually like, brutes who have some kind of faith aspect to them?
So if you, in the book, there is a Night City gang called the Inquisitors.
Mm-hmm.
And they actually see cyberware as blasphemous. So if we looked into another gang, and it doesn't have to be the ones around this area, but kind of an anti cyberware group that would work in connection with the churches or with something else like that as kind of their muscle.
That's very interesting.
It's page 308. And
So-
if you even saw Altered Carbon, there was that same kind of ideal of these cybernetic kind of enhancements on humans being a blasphemy against God and all of that. And so you would expect that kind of thing.
I'm really liking this, Naomi. By the way, I think that's really cool because the Catholic Church would not be what it once was. It could even be like it. That's something that is not talked about in the books at all, about what role like organized religion plays.
And I can see why they would avoid it in the books, but you would have to expect that would be something.
Because then that actually, if the Catholic Church still has a foothold in Dixie, maybe one of its last big footholds outside of Europe, then that makes sense for Mardi Gras, that makes sense for Halloween. All of that still would be celebrated there because it would be ingrained in the community.
Well, and when you have a society that's collapsing around you, you're going to find something that you can hold on to. And if in this area that is it, and the church becomes that cornerstone for a lot of people, it's going to become stupid powerful.
I would think you'd need two. You'd need two different gangs, right? Or maybe not gangs is the right word, but you'd have the front-facing group who is anti-tech, but then the church is using tech to keep their power, right? So you'd have
more progressive sects or something like that.
Okay, so I'm just going to come out and say this because it is for a broadcast. We are talking about a dystopian future,
right?
Where people in these areas have been treated like garbage, and their lives are extremely difficult. So there will be people who come to power in situations like this, as there typically do. But we are in no way saying that about organized religion.
No.
Oh, yeah, no. We're just saying.
Yeah. I'm
just
thanks for the
disclaimer.
Yeah, thanks for the disclaimer. Yeah, no, that's good.
We do have faithful in this group, and that's all I'm saying.
Oh, yeah, no, and it's nothing against the faith. It's just a matter of if...
In this specific situation where you have gangs that control it, and you have things there, it's a very valid point, and it's something actually that when you read into a lot of science fiction that includes some faith elements, it usually has at least one faith element that bucks against the technological change.
And in the same idea, you have the Voodoo gang, and there could be a lot of gang kind of tension and stuff right there, just in their ideologies. Because the Voodoo are obviously pro-cybernetics, and so even if you take the faith out of it and just put in the anti-cyberware versus pro-cyberware, and you can have enough that, and along with like territory and all that good stuff.
So, I mean, I feel like that's probably a classic conflict that we could, that would be like throughout the city, not even just in this specific section, but I could see how that would be like a main source of tension for the entirety of like the city. Which I think would be awesome. To kind of, I guess, I don't want to say piggyback because that's not the right word, but like I think where my head was more wrapped around was like you go back to like the old like kind of voodoo feel, right? Like you think of, some dark street alley, cauldrons, etc., frog entrails, whatnot. And especially now that like a good portion of like south of the city is essentially just marshland and like swamp. Suddenly you have like these people that aren't like fully teched up but have like maybe some tech, but really are kind of living off the land, away, even more like kind of disconnected from like the city. So you get like this, I don't even want to call it a gang necessarily, but like this group of people. This is where I'm thinking with like voodoo, where like they kind of come out occasionally and there's like this mysticism kind of associated with them just because they're poorly
like understood, but also like not really part of the city per se.
So when
That's what I'm
you
thinking.
break down a lot of the peoples in this setting, right? You still break them down in a lot of cases, especially the heroes, as the different types, one of the 10 types, and there could be peoples just like nomads. Nomads are relatively tech level, but they live outside major population centers, and it's right along that line. And I'll bump you one further, Billy, because this is all of these have been really good topics I had not even considered. But with cyberware and with pharmaceuticals being what they are, you could have people that get kidnapped or volunteer for an altered state that could turn them into like your zombies or your altered peoples that would further that voodoo belief or the voodoo power systems.
Yeah, I think it'd be
I'm gonna change.
like a
I'm gonna
good like
change.
kind of I don't want to say counter, but like you have your organized religion, and then you have like a not so organized kind of set of
Anarchists.
Swamp dwellers. I mean, that's interesting too.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you've got this area down south of the map where it should be like, I don't want to say Okies, right? But you get my drift. Like the swamp dwellers that live out on all these little islands and have their own little fiefdoms out here. Maybe they're growing drugs. Maybe they're trafficking in people. Maybe they're doing all of this other shady stuff. But it should be the opposite of the city. The city is the big bright lights like behind your head. But this should be like the hot and humid south. The backwaters, exactly. Like literally the backwaters.
Yeah, like it would be cool if we called it the backwaters.
Yeah. Yeah. And you have cyber hoverboats.
Well, and you would have to think that they would have something going on, because I mean, I have not read nearly enough of the book, so I'm not exactly sure how the tech works there. So if isolated places still get signal or whatever it is,
Well, there's no.
if not, they're gonna have to find a way to make it happen. If there's no Wi-Fi, they're gonna have like
There's no Wi-Fi. There's no Wi-Fi anywhere.
So there has to be someone that's running information. So again, that's probably where the nomads come in.
I think this is a genius idea, because you could actually make illegal smuggling the main income for this group. Because if you have something you want smuggled into the city, you're not going to be able to ride it right up to the docks. But if you came in through these southern little islands, it's almost like money laundering. You could just get whatever you need into the city smuggled in that way.
Or smuggled out. I mean, it's a place
Or
for
smuggled
people to
out.
swap.
Yeah, exactly.
If there is not a Wi-Fi or a satellite thing where they can physically track people,
Nope.
so where else would you go if you don't want to be found?
Yep.
And so I know there's the freeway, so the highway going through, you would have nomads going back and forth on there, but could there be more waterborne, aquatic, nomads?
Yeah. Oh, yes. And pirates.
And there are. So one of the things I didn't mention here, but it's in my. It's one of the things I'm adding to the brainstorming stuff. There are several, but there is one well-known flotilla that is built up around an old oil derrick that is used to harvest kelp and also a lot of soy out in the Gulf. That is brought in and sold to Farmcom, Continental Brands for kibble. Like, it's sold off a lot of things, but it's several nomad families that live and build out there and fight off pirates and kind of just live out there. You have a whole so it's ironic, but all of you at some point have lived near the coast. This, like Night City, has a lot of shipping opportunities and pirate opportunities and nomad families that live out in the water. If we were running someplace in central United States or even elsewhere in the world, we wouldn't have that opportunity. But here you have full nomad families that live on the water. And that's something to consider when you're building a nomad.
And so it would also make it kind of neat in the fact that it's a bit more dangerous for outsiders heading in there, because it is the whole backwater tight-knit group that, I mean, if you were born here and you still live here, like if you live and work there, that's because you were born there. You don't go there to start a living.
And you married your sister.
Yeah, probably. Don't.
I added one place to the backwaters, and that should be the trading post. That has to be like the one place in all the backwaters that all the illicit gangs go to trade things.
It was the same.
No, it's called the trading post.
I would put that closer to maybe
And it's in the
up
marshlands.
by Lake Salvador.
Black market near the marshlands.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A black or night market.
Night market.
Night market. Night market.
It's like the one neutral ground where, like, for the most part, you kind of keep the peace. People go there to trade goods,
For
stuff,
business.
people, whatever. But then as
I'm
soon as
gonna
you
say
leave it,
law enforcement don't go there because
No.
when law enforcement go there, they disappear into the swamp.
Yeah.
Because someone's going to try to take guns, and they don't want their guns taken.
Well, depending on the number of law enforcement that go. If
Right.
it's less than a full platoon, then they're all dead and never heard from again.
it was the Gators. I don't know what you're talking about.
Exactly.
Hmm.
Okay.
I love how, like, we started in the city, but now we're, like, not even paying attention.
Nah, we're going to go swampland.
Yep.
Well, okay. So when it comes to it, right? We're going to be building this up as we play. This is a living document, just like any of the others. So as you guys do missions or look for contacts or want to go and find X type of company, we can add it to the map so that it's useful in the future. Any NPCs that we build, we can add to the document. The biggest thing is going to be trying to keep I agree. Billy has an amazing voice. It's
Did that like an hour ago.
Yeah. Writing up Mark's notes and keeping our notes as up to date as Mark's notes. So if you have an NPC that you meet that you want to keep in your back pocket or whatever, make sure to add it to this living document so that we can reference it in the future. But yeah.
So, I feel like I just want to finish the first quarter, the one with the French Quarter.
Yep.
What would, I mean, corporations are obviously, okay, let me go the other route. How much mob presence is in the city?
And our mobs and corporations kind of thing.
So at
No,
least one.
actually, they're not in the overall scheme of things. The mob is still the mob, but the mobs control most of the unions.
Yes.
So they're labor stuff, whereas corporates still have to utilize the mob a lot of times to get their buildings built or whatever.
I would say, not argue because I'm the GM. Haha. I would say that when New Orleans fell, very few mob connections stayed.
Okay.
But as the city started getting rebuilt and labor was brought in and corporations said, come join the Petrochem family and we'll give you a wage and we'll give you kibble and we'll give you a container to sleep in, a cube hotel to sleep in so you're safe at night, more than you've probably seen in the last 15 years. Their unions probably popped up overnight. Not that they were very successful, but that still brought the mob back. So I'll argue, or again, I'll say, there's at least one mob family. I would like there to be at least 3. I have named none. So this is one of the things that we're talking about.
Okay.
So I would think that you would have bars, saloons, restaurants, brothels, whatever. Maybe it's like this section is like the New Amsterdam of cities in the United States, in that it's all mob run and anything goes for the most part.
Well, when you think about it, mobs still would have some rules.
No. I'm just saying that whatever you would desire, you'd be able to get in this section because the mob controls it. So nothing would be off the table in terms of, if you're like half the people in that book and you want some really twisted things, the tourism district would be where you'd go to get it, is all I'm saying.
Yeah, I get that.
I don't know. I still don't know what to call it.
I have the O'Malley family for now. Tourism district and
We need a good Creole gang.
yeah.
Let me find a Creole name generator. Cajun name. Oh, you know what? We should have at least one Haitian gang also.
Also of note, you guys, in that homework folder, there's a file called Themes and Idea Fodder. That has a list of movies, music, links, games, books, comic books, anything you can think of that kind of get people into that mindset, or give people ideas on style, or really anything.
Okay, cool.
I kind of been doing this, but do you mind if I fill in like names for like
No, do
landmarks and stuff?
No, that's
Please.
yeah.
Please do. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely do it.
Is it done, Cal?
Naomi, do you want to keep them called Inquisitors, or do you want to change the name so it's not like the ones in the book?
I think I want to change the name, but I'm actually going to do some research on that one before I pick a name, because I would really like something that is kind of seated in New Orleans Catholic culture, or something in New Orleans culture.
So I just as a suggestion, but you don't have to take it. I put voodoons in there because that's what they called the practitioner of voodoo at one point, but you don't have to go with that. It's just a suggestion / idea. That's a real thing.
Sorry, kids.
No problem. I said I put in the document after you had Inquisitors, I put voodoons. Voodoons are people who practice voodoo. It's a real thing, but you don't have to use it. It's just a suggestion. You might use that as the basis of your search as you start looking into it.
Thank you.
No problem.
Yeah, feel free to put Mississippi River in there, because I was not sure what river it was, because I'm an idiot.
It's definitely.
I've been running back and forth between all of the stuff I've been trying to get done for this, and yeah. So the dark gray that I have there, I picture that as like a larger aqueduct, whether it ran underneath the city or something, but that it was a larger tributary from the Mississippi River out into the swamplands. Yeah.
That should be called the lock.
The lock?
They're called locks. They have them now. It's what the Corps of Engineers put in to keep them from flooding, because remember, all of New Orleans is below sea level, and so they have these locks spread around the the city to funnel water where they need it to go, so that it doesn't just flood the city. And after Katrina, they rebuilt all the locks, but maybe that's the only one that's left, and now it's used as a shipping lane instead of what it was originally used for. Or do you think that sucks and I should take it out?
No, that is good.
Okay. I think it should just say Daniel is cool highway, by the way.
Yes, that is.
What are names for friends?
Oh, we have Trauma, don't we? Trauma Team is another corp this year.
Yes.
And I need to look at the timeline real quick because I think we're right in the middle of when Arasaka was not in the United States.
Oh no, but you know what? You should totally have the daughter, have a office here.
Mm-hmm. That thought had crossed my mind.
Because if you're gonna do noir detective stuff, you gotta have the detective agency.
Grim Noir.
The Grim Noir? What do you want that? What is that?
As a detective agency. Or as the gang for the religious group.
Okay. Put it
No,
in.
maybe not. I gotta think and figure it out.
Mm. Yep.
Jay, you better simmer down. You're just talking too much tonight.
I sent everyone a whisper. I was trying to figure out how long it would take for people to find them.
Oh, I can't see any of the chat stuff, so just fair warning.
I actually have it pulled up, but I'm working on like 15 different windows. Just
I know. I'm not anybody but you, basically. I know you're busy. But I was chowing down on some beef and brockware, so I didn't want to be noisy.
Nice.
I'm trying to find a word for tourist.
Sucker.
Oh,
No. It's just no good.
what is a bayou?
So bayou is like a swamp, kind of. It's swamp is basically the best way to say it. It's like a swamp.
Okay.
So it's got patches of land and water, and that's really pretty much it.
Okay. What was
It's like
the
it's like a
backwaters?
marsh. The backwaters. What is it?
What was it? Did we have it written down?
Yeah,
No, we don't.
yeah. It's in the brainstorming thing. You have it. It's the backwaters. No, you have the trading post. You don't have the backwaters.
Okay, so what was the backwaters?
So the backwaters is almost like the 6th district. It's all the islands to the south.
I gave you a few ideas, Mark, in chat.
Again, I can't see your chats.
Oh, I thought you meant just then.
No, I can't see them at all. I have 27 windows open for the stream. So I don't even
But
know where my.
so is it
Zoom
is
was.
is it a series of communities? Is it for backwaters?
Yes, in that you would probably have. I mean, I would consider it like the Deep South Mafia, right? You'd have smugglers have their own area staked out in there. You'd have kidnappers. You'd have drug growers. You'd have basically anything that's contraband for Dixie. If you're gonna do it and don't want to be in the city, then you'd be in the backwaters, because it's easy not to have stuff enforced out there, because the police aren't going to go out there because they'll never come back.
Okay.
I mean, again, this is not Mark talking. I'm just saying for the game, you'd probably have human traffickers. You'd have all the worst things that you could imagine would happen in the backwaters.
I feel like, kind of like following onto what you're saying, you have like this awful situation in the South. That's the background. And then you have like this beacon that's supposed to be New Orleans, but you really can't take it out of the South, right? So everything, like all the pestilence that is kind of the way we've just set up the South is still there. It's just right around it. It's not in the city per se, but it's everywhere around it.
Well, I mean,
And it's in the city too, but you're absolutely right. And if you really think about it, the way I wanted kind of to push this as a story pool is that they built the city. The city is still relatively new. It's 12 years old at this point.
Yeah.
From when they broke ground, and it's still like if you walked in the lower streets, it doesn't look like a city that's 12 years old. It looks like a city that's built on top of another city that's built on top of another city that was underwater for a long time. So there's still heavy, when that pestilence washed back into New Orleans, it came in waves. And so you're right, there's going to be even worse people living and even worse situations living outside the city.
Right.
Because those are the people who didn't take the paycheck.
Right.
But still wanted the paycheck.
Or kidnapped the guy who had the paycheck and extorted them and then put them to work for them out in the backwaters.
Yep.
And so, like, I would imagine that there's a huge gun smuggling, gun running operation out there. Because...
I'll be right back.
Again,
Okay.
anything you can't...
So, my little nomad's gonna be a gun runner, and it's gonna be so fun. Right, huh? Yay! I got approved.
Okay. You sure you're not going to speak with any kind of southern accent?
I don't do accents. So, I don't know.
No.
Maybe I got kicked in the head or something.
Nothing like, gosh, you got a pretty mouth for a corpo? Nothing
Oh
like
gosh. Oh damn. Now I'm gonna have to figure something out because it's gonna be like straight up like Boomhauer.
that? See?
No one can understand fucking word.
Yeah. Oh, hey, listen, I already, like, I got approved from the GM for a character with an accent, and I started talking with Anthony, and he couldn't understand a fucking word I said. So I had to change it.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to think about that because I don't do accents, so we'll try. I don't know. Maybe after listening to you guys with your fake southern accents.
Oh, I'm not going to have a southern accent.
Yeah,
so that's
okay.
fine.
We're all outsiders. Maybe I'm actually,
My character's from Scotland, so...
That'd be a really
Oh
quick
my
game.
gosh. I forgot about that.
That'd be a really quick game. Everyone is an outsider. Everyone just disappears into the bogs.
Yeah, that's exactly what
I
would
just
happen, too.
popped up out of the bog like they found me washed up on an island somewhere.
I'm going to find a word for this yet.
I'm gonna
Can we have
beef
a
up
can we have a
California.
bar
I have a California accent.
called the Raging Cajun? That'd be acceptable.
Oh,
How could it not?
Absolutely can.
yeah, that's completely
Um,
acceptable.
Do you want it to be a saloon-style bar?
Be? Yes. And 25 credit oysters.
Mm.
Order EB. You said Ragin Cajun. Ragin. How do you spell Ragin?
RAGIN.
G-I-N.
Okay, you said that there's human trafficking and all this other stuff. Is prostitution legal? Illegal?
Is it
Is it illegal or is it legal? Like, is it corp run?
O-N? O-N. Is what corporate run?
Prostitution.
Well, that'd be controlled by the government, who's made most things, fun things, contraband. So I would imagine.
Oh, okay.
But that's
Ooh,
the
there will
question.
be a special island just for that out there.
Well, I mean, I think it's not illegal anymore. Actually, now that I think about it, because they have gangs based around it, based around protecting sex workers.
Okay.
So I think
Yeah.
it's
See,
legal.
yeah, that's what I'm like. Okay, you take away most vices, but there are certain ones that would be.
Yeah, I think that could use a little more fleshing out, Daniel, is what exactly, I mean,
Of course, I'm the one that brings this up.
what's illegal by the government of Dixie? Because you say music, drugs.
Wait,
So-
did you say music's illegal?
Drugs, music, ammo, cyberware, and many other common items are also prohibited or restricted. It doesn't mean they're illegal. It just means they're harder to get your hands on, and they.
Oh.
You have to pay more because there's government tax on it.
Yes.
But music?
So I would argue, or I need to stop that.
To be fair.
To be fair, I would say that things like prostitution probably are legal. There's just a heavier tax on them for Dixie.
Oh, like Game of Thrones. Sorry, nerd.
So then we would probably. What is the gang actually?
Soy. Not soy.
Cyberpunk. I don't think this gang is going to be too new, so it wouldn't work for this.
Another thing in here reminds me of DR. It is insane. Philanthropic vampires?
No. Is it philanthropic or philharmonic?
Oh, Philharmonic. Sorry, I read that.
I
So
thought
much
that-
better.
I was like, I'm pretty sure they're
So-
singers.
I would
So-
like to make a gang of philanthropic vampires.
No.
No,
So,
he already said no.
So
I already brought it
in,
up.
Oh my god,
in,
dog.
in Cyberpunk, in the
I would
world
make
of
the
cyber-
argument that in the traditional sense of the word, all vampires are philanthropic.
So, in the world of Cyberpunk, there are lots and lots and lots of gangs. And there are a lot of gangs that are silly. And there's some of them that have been mentioned by 2077, the video game, which is coming out in a little under a month, that I'm wondering if they're going to show up. But to name a few that will not make an appearance here, probably,
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
are
I
the
see 'em.
Philharmonic Vampires. The Bozos probably won't, unless I can figure out a creepy Halloween game for them.
Ooh, yeah.
The Star Trek gang, while I enjoy the idea of a bunch of gangers that have body modded themselves to look like Klingons or cast and crew from one of the shows, I probably won't have them making an appearance.
You're not a real fan.
I know. That's fine, whatever.
I'm very sad by this.
I love Star Trek, which is why it will not appear as a comedy here. What else? What were some of the other ones, Mark? The King's Might. The King's Might, which are people that have through worship and body modification made themselves into Elvis.
Yeah.
That would be kind of neat.
There's that other one, the Action Heroes one,
Yeah.
where every person has to get modifications to make them look like an 80s action hero. Like
Yeah, that's
Rambo.
not-
So, as much as I know I'm not going to like these guys in game, they would be a great bad guy, and that's the Red Chrome Legion.
And what are those?
It's a legion of neo-fascist hate gang.
Yeah, I mean, that is this area.
Yeah, well, I mean, in general, yeah,
Well,
they would be
I'm
good.
saying Dixie has a lot of hate, and it was something that I was really considering leaving out of this game because of where the world is sitting right now. But I'm hoping that we can
We just need to
approach
be
it-
very careful.
approach it carefully and logically as players and as a GM. And I think
Well,
it'll
and
be
even
fine.
if we don't, let's take race out of it and
Yep.
just have them against people who are against the establishment.
That's kind of the plan.
Anyone that's going up against their ideas or the government's ideas or whoever they
No, their ideas.
their ideals.
Yeah, anyone
Yeah.
who's different from them.
Yeah, and so they're just going to be. I would prefer them to be a smaller group, just because I really don't want to have to try to fight a giant gang. Because I
Are you
will.
guys hearing a lot of
Echo?
echo from Naomi
I can mute.
when I talk?
No, it's fine now. There was a while back that something glitched on Naomi's side, and then I didn't hear her out of her mic. I heard her out of your mic, but it seems to have fixed itself.
It might have
again.
been while I was muted.
No, you were talking and it like blew out my eardrums, and then it was fine again.
Oh, weird.
But it sounds like you're fine now.
Okay.
I thought it was just a character power of some kind.
I've got a brand new mic, so we're testing out the capabilities of using it.
I got a brand new bicycle.
I got the same old mic, so hopefully I sound all right.
I'm still using some that are touch my earbuds because
I want to
trying do this
use
over.
my microphone. I want to use my mic.
I think I'm going to be stuck on this for a while of what to name this district. Okay, so we can say it's the tourist district. That's one done. We still have 4 more to do. Well, one of them's got to be like a...
Well, so and here's the thing. Right now, they're fine being numbered because a tourist district shouldn't be that large of an area over New
Yeah,
Orleans.
no, you want to keep it
Like
small.
the French
so it
Quarter
stays clean.
is a small piece of one district. I was thinking for a district, you were talking about, you had a really cool name for it, but it was like an immigration district.
Oh, yeah.
And it was like like flower houses and tenements and where all of the shipping containers are stacked, like stuff like that.
Okay, so everything south of the highway in District 1, or in the French Quarter District, should be tourism.
Okay, so let's
Yeah.
color it in with a different color and call it tourism
Yeah.
alley or
Yeah.
call it come up with a neat name for it because it's on the edge of the Mississippi River.
I know.
So come up with a name for
Something,
it.
yeah, that would also.
Tourist district is fine for now,
Yeah.
but we need to come up with a better name for it.
Yeah, oh, of course.
You can even just call it like old, not old town, but like an old town, like where they're trying to bring back that. And you would have it like, I swear to God, it would be like Southern Disneyland, but huge. So they would have different areas that will give you different ideas of what to, like, you know, different tourist traps.
Okay. I'm not sure. And now that we have all of the players chosen, and we're doing some brainstorming for this, I will be starting up the play-by-post really soon. And that way we can start doing that as well. The play-by-post, I anticipate, is going to be really just fluff. I might have a few dice rolls, depending on what you guys get into, which will be relatively based on the system that we're running. But again, it's going to be very loose and more for setting and building. The characters that you have for the play-by-post do not need to be the characters you are playing, and will likely not be the characters you're playing for the actual game. They can be, but by no means need to be. So if you're playing the character and you're like, wow, I actually really like how this one turned out, I'm going to rebuild this character using the full character gamut. When we start making characters, awesome. But for now, just use it as it sits. But yeah.
I'm looking forward to the play-by-post.
Mm.
I'm pretty much the exact opposite of Anthony. I don't make 30 characters. I make one.
I too am like that, Jay. Takes me long enough to figure out one character.
Well, I get way too invested in what I'm doing, and I don't want to turn back the clock.
Yeah.
So, and I love this soundtrack, by the way. I don't know who's playing it, but it's great.
It's me.
So, Mark and I have been talking about different ways that we can add music and sound effects into the game, because I have a whole bunch of like sci-fi and cyberpunk sound effects to add into the game, and we also wanted music to flow behind the study groups and brainstorming sessions that we're doing. So Mark figured it out.
Mark should get bonus XP.
I get a lot more than bonus XP. Heyo.
Yeah, I can't put a surprise face on with that.
Mark, is that why prostitution is legal?
So let's put the central business district on
You don't have
the
to
north
answer the
side of the
question.
road. I didn't answer the question.
He did not answer the
All right,
question.
so central business district being the things behind me.
Yes.
Right?
Yes, correct.
So that from a lot of the windows of the large, tall buildings, you can look down and see the ocean and the bayou and the French Quarter and
Exactly.
the older buildings.
Exactly.
I like that actually a lot. So let's say the tourist district, which right now is at light purple, including the French Quarter, are either reconstructions of the city and brought to this area. So they may have been buildings that were found throughout the area that were brought into this area, either recreations or buildings they were actually able to bring up.
But there needs to be some mega skyscrapers for the rich and famous that want to come and tourism
And stay
here
in.
too.
And
Right.
they could have
so sure, that makes sense.
Like this little point on the south here, that should totally be the like I'll just put a
well, and you would think maybe that they would have some fancy new sculpture or tribute to this
Right.
amazing reconstruction that they did.
Like beauty times 50 because everything's got to be gaudy.
It has
and
to be
cyberpunk.
opulent and
Yeah.
giant.
Okay. Then why don't we, because it's further from the ocean and further from damage, let's say this section over here, like this area, color it in. This area is more like industrial
Yes.
and factories and where some of the corps do their cable production and stuff like that. Either that or put it
I think it's
down
got
by
to be
reclaimed Choctaw territory.
I think it's got to be on the northeast, on the other side of the road from the business district, because
Yeah.
you have to have ocean access, and you're not going to
See-
be able to take those up the Mississippi River.
Oh yeah, okay. That's a valid point.
So
was
I
thinking you
kind of
wouldn't
went
want-
off on a tangent with that reclaimed Choctaw territory. I just went ahead and
No, you're good.
said
Yeah.
Native
A lot of
Americans
this,
kinda came
is
through
us
and-
just building together, so you're good.
No, you're
All right.
That's cool too.
So what about over here? Because I don't think it should be right next to the central business district. Because
Yeah,
there's
you
a lot of
don't want-
factories
Yeah.
and emits like smoke towers and.
There'd probably be a smell. You don't want that in your touristy area.
So what are your thoughts?
I think
Wait.
that
What is that called? Is that okay? It's Bayou.
Delacroix.
No, the Salvage. On the very east, northeast. Right?
Yep.
the Savage
Salvage.
Savage.
Savage
Savage. I thought it said sausage, so it's good that that doesn't say it.
What's up?
Why is she trying to make me hungry? I would say that whole area, including Bayou Delacroix.
So here's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking right now, it's just this area, but it is encroaching on what small bits of wildlife land are still there, because that gives more chance for plot.
Get it tomorrow, but you need to go to bed.
And
For-
this needs to be the little island in Larry Bay. That needs to be some kind of. I'm trying to.
Like well, it's in the middle of a bay. I would imagine it would be a shipping and transport kind of hub.
No, I'm thinking the opposite. Like armed towers and stuff
Oh,
to protect
like,
the boats from pirates.
I know what you're talking about. I don't understand why I can't figure out the word.
Yeah, I can't think of what I'm trying to say.
Okay, so at this
An
point,
outpost. I don't.
so at this point, the Mississippi River comes into Lake Algiers and then comes down past, right? And is it Algiers?
Yeah, Lake Algiers. Yeah.
Okay. So why don't we add another lock going out to Larry Bay from Lake Algiers, and then Larry Bay protects that lock
Sure.
Yes, that would be
And the bay.
and,
And
the
the
bay.
ships coming into the bay. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
What do you guys think? The two who aren't saying anything.
I like it. I mean, yeah, I think you had two options there. Like, and either one works. I love them both. One would be that like you ship it all down to Lake Algiers on like those old school like big rafts, right? Like river boats, not ocean going vessels at all. And then there's a connection there where they have to load up everything or unload it from the river boats, cross that like section of peninsula, and then load it up on like the ocean going vessels. Or you have a lock that just connects the two and lets you like get from the ocean into Lake Algiers, and within the lake, that's where all that transit or like the commerce kind of exchanges from ocean going ships to like something that can go up and down the Mississippi River.
Yeah, I would, like Billy said, where it can only, like, if it's shallow or narrow, the big shipping containers can go there. And so there could be game controlling of that, or at least even corporate control, just in the fact that it has to take a specific type of boat, and so that it may need more actual physical manual labor as opposed to having it all automated with these big shipping vessels.
I I have been paying attention, but I've been mainly doing the brainstorming document. I've been adding some things to that.
Thank you.
Oh my god. I got it. The church... Go ahead.
I've also started adding comments to the city overview.
Thank you.
On certain cells, you just hover over it, and it's an easy way to, leave opinions or whatever.
Oh, that's neat. Thank you.
How did you do
Oh,
that?
I like that.
All you got to do is right-click a cell, scroll all the way to the bottom, and hit comment. It's also a Control-Alt-M.
Oh, yeah.
Control-Alt-M works as well.
That's cool.
It is.
Look at us learning things.
So
Speaking of learning, sorry to cut you off again, Mark, but I'm actually going to be tutoring somebody in about an hour or so. So I just wanted to warn you of that.
no problem.
Thank you. Go ahead, Mark.
Thanks for coming, man.
Mm-hmm.
I think that Bay defense should be controlled by the church.
Ooh.
That's how they've managed to reestablish their foothold, is they are taxing all goods that come in and out of the bay.
Okay, so what would be there though, like, to almost stake their claim, or what would be their, like?
Does the church have a church in this area have a
I mean,
a
they could
corporation?
build something in that amount
Yeah,
of time.
they'd
but-
have to. They'd have to have a corp. And maybe that's the answer for the lock, for the other lock, as well.
I mean, they could own this lock and the defense of this lock,
Yeah.
or not.
Yeah, but-
Maybe not own it, but control it.
I'm not trying to paint a picture of all churches when I say this.
Yeah, no, and
I-
this isn't. I don't even think that it. If anything, it shouldn't be a reflection on the faith, just people in general.
Right. But this would explain if the church owns the locks, then the smugglers and bad people that want to use the other lock because it's not as noticeable, it's not out in, they pay the church off.
I mean, it's not paying off. It's
Charitable donation.
yes, it's donation.
Right. Tithing.
But I don't know. Like
Because they have to have some kind of form of
I just want to
income.
make sure we don't go too far into making them look like Spanish Inquisition style and making them look totally corrupt, because there would have to still be, I would like to at least to see the group still fighting for the common folk. I hope.
I hope. No, that's true. I hope.
I know it's like a really sucky future, which I mean, we're all expecting, but you would kind of hope there might be some good people.
So I'm trying to frame this discussion positively to encapsulate what you're saying, Naomi. And the church, even in the past, when they have not been great, they do still do good things, like feed the homeless, etc. So I'm not saying that all the money they make goes towards it in this scenario.
Well, okay, and it could also
would be going to the people in there.
It could also be that the sect of Inquisitors, or whatever they end up being called, is just a sect of the church.
It's a kind of independent offshoot, not necessarily.
When people were reaching out and rebuilding the church that's here, that has stood here for, what was it? You had it on here since like
17 something.
Yeah, since 1720. It could be that they were able to put their foot down on certain locations within the city. The Loch Brendan and the they could work with someone to get the Loch Bay defense together, and now they control both.
They could have been there before the corporations decided to rebuild. I mean, they
we are talking a different universe 40 years or 20 years from now.
Well, gosh, 20 years from now. So.
I know,
Good.
sadly.
I know. But yeah, they could have also had established foothold and been the few things keeping the community there together here before corporations decided to come in and rebuild. So corporations could have easily needed to make deals with them. Because I'm guessing this wasn't all just underwater before the corporations decided to come in.
A lot of it was, but not all of it.
Yeah. Like that island right there could have, I would really, I'm gonna be a total nerd later and actually look for a map that has elevation. Because the higher points in the city would have still been around.
I can really appreciate what you went through and did, Billy. I'm just noticing it now.
Yes, thank you, Billy.
When you went through and found little cities or locations and added them.
Yeah, I've been kind of ripping it off
Yeah,
of like
that's
the
awesome.
map and then
Yeah.
filling in like bits and pieces. Yeah.
That's awesome.
It's right around the...
That's awesome.
Did you put... Did we end up putting Lafayette Square in?
No.
Hey, Daniel, I have a
This
question.
background music
Yes,
seems
sir.
like it's fun.
I put some stuff in the brainstorming section, and if it gets approved under the Atakapa people, the Native American tribe, I was thinking about them having a thatch house headquarters in the backwaters. I don't know if you still want to keep Native Americans in the game or if they're still around, but if so, they're called the people eaters because they practice cannibalism for hundreds of years. I think that would be kind of a neat thing to keep inside Cyberpunk somehow, and
Well,
maybe they live sort of off in the middle of nowhere. And
He already mentioned that when we were going through the story. You weren't here yet, but that is a thing that happened. Is a lot of people...
I hadn't tied it to this this group. I had thought more because people were hungry and people get lost in the bayou. That's
Like fried green tomato style.
like fried green tomato style.
well, if I had showed up on time, I would have known that. So
No,
But
that's
no, I
awesome.
like this. This is really
good.
interesting because it would be maybe a group trying to.
No, what do you mean by
recapture the
a thatch house?
So the Native Americans, or current day, they actually build their houses out of thickets and poles and bamboo, native to the bayou in Louisiana.
Okay.
And it's a common building practice, architecturally speaking. And so if they survived and if they're around and blah 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 blah, then they could still have one that's been there for a long, long time. Maybe that didn't get destroyed, or maybe they've rebuilt one, or maybe their descendants are reviving the tradition or something.
Yeah.
Can I put in a random suggestion, which is only partially tongue-in-cheek? We have a city, like I can't call it a national anthem, but a city anthem by the rock group Jefferson Hovership, and it's we built this city with rock and soul, or on rock and soul, I should say.
That's
and
awesome.
play it at all
Yes.
the major gaming / I don't know, game events, whatever, pro events. I don't know.
Is that in the brainstorming?
I haven't
You need
put
to
that
get
in
it.
there.
Put it
no.
You
in
should, because that's awesome.
Yes.
And Daniel knows I'm a sucker for a good set of puns.
Yeah. I really don't mind things being fun. I'm gonna try to stray away from them being silly, and I think I think that's awesome. Like you could start. I would start a new section that's just trivia or something, and then have that be something under trivia.
So, Daniel, what do you, or everybody, what do you think about making the immigrant section called Im Nation
Mm,
and putting it to the east of the tourist zone, because that way a lot of those folks will be working either there or in the business district.
and yeah,
I missed it.
it's
The,
okay, yellow
the
line.
immigrant zone, having it be east of the tourist zone
Yeah, but that's
and going down to the industrial zone.
No, that's fine. Because while we're calling it the nation sounds great, but the immigrant zone, really, it's just really well. That's really close to the
because if
business
it's like
district for it to
it-
be run down.
yeah, I was gonna say that's like
Yeah, but
the
have you
hollow
not
for
been to like
the
San
back.
Francisco?
Nah, that's true.
Yeah, but
I
that's
mean-
San Francisco.
But any city you cross
How
the
does
street,
me?
it's night and day.
That's true.
And I
That's true.
mean, it's gonna have to be where people can not have to take hover taxis or whatever to get there. So you're gonna have a bunch of people working in the industrial zone and a bunch of people working in the tourist zone. That's why I thought it made the most sense.
Okay, yeah, you're right. That does make a good sense for that. And honestly, it could be
And it doesn't have
a
to all be
different
run
series
down.
of neighborhoods. It doesn't have
Right.
to all be
Right.
run down. There could be different.
There could be-
It could just be like that area is a lot of residential, essentially.
I mean, most of it should be residential.
Yeah.
The question is, do we want, are there going to be... Yeah, we should have, a Haitian section, a Creole section, a European
Well, I mean, we
section.
can also, if we don't want to separate it into cultures, which we can easily, but we can also section it off on what gangs kind of run those zones too.
Well, I think that's just over the top of each other. Because generally you're going to have gangs
So-
stray out of more than one territory.
Yeah, and a lot of this area is going to be single-story flop houses and areas that have been put up overnight and run-down buildings and cargo containers that are stacked 40 high and
The shanty towns.
shanty towns and the and most of them are going to be back to back to back to back with
Oh.
small roads going between them. The stacks from Ready Player One, stuff like that is going to be in this area.
How long has the city been around? Like, how long has it been since they did the rebuilding? Because that can kind of give you an idea
12
of
years.
what. So it's only been 12 years.
But so many people moved in so
Oh yeah, that's what I'm
quickly.
saying. That's why the city. That's why you're going to see much more of it. The shantytown and kind of hastily put together buildings, not well built or anything. It's like everybody is coming here because there's work here, and they're putting together whatever they can for shelter. And we're probably the city itself is probably just now building low-income apartments or something to try to keep the peace or however. it
Is
works.
M Nation then the shanty town area?
Yes.
Yeah, it's a mixture of shantytowns. I'm sure there'll be nice districts, but that's just the people that have
Which
it
part's
slightly
like the
better off.
rundown? Like the northern area, the southern area, the eastern? What's the worst part of it?
So I would think the
I
worst
would-
part would be by the industrial zone.
Yeah, down by the industrial zone. I'd say the nicer places are going to be the ones that are bordering on with the tourist district. They're going to have the
Okay.
nicer neighborhoods there.
Yep.
So would you have an issue with me with maybe labeling a quarter of M Nation there, like the Yankee district or something like that?
Yeah, that'd be
That
good.
works.
Yeah, I think that'd be
Yeah.
perfect. And and then the question is, okay, you've graduated to Beaverville status. No matter what your background is, right? Is M Nation gonna have some Beavervilles in it, or are all high class condo type areas gonna be maybe across the bay, across from the
Yeah. So I had thought about part of that, and I was thinking about putting them where it says Mississippi River right now.
Yeah.
Putting them like right above where it says Mississippi River.
Okay.
Yeah, that makes sense because then they're just across the river. You know, there's going to be ferries and stuff like that, and they have the best view of old New Orleans where they can see everything, and then they don't have to see the ick because on the map where it's bordering on the lake Algiers, is that right?
Yep.
And the touristy district is probably going to be the nicer of the M Nation towns.
Yeah.
But right there in that blue is going to be perfect for the Beaver Town. Is this from the book, or did you guys just come
No,
up with that?
Beaverville's part of the slang.
Okay.
Can you help me out with the background on the Beavervilles is?
So it's purely the suburbs. That's all. It's a synonym for the suburbs. It's where all the busy beavers at all the corporate offices, their families live, and they have 2.3 children and 2 cars, and
They follow all the rules.
they follow all the
Gotcha.
rules. Yeah. So that's why it's called Beaverville, but it's a slang for any nice area, really.
Yeah, it's not the corporates don't call it Beaverville.
Right.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
That's a slang term.
But it's not uncommon for corporates to own entire neighborhoods. So it would be the ConAg Beaverville is what everybody else would call it. ConAg would say it's the ConAg secure, double gated community.
Right. Gotcha. Beaverville. That's a funny name.
It is a funny name. It's like Leave It to Beaver. That's actually, I think, where they, where they got the name from. So, one other question about M Nation. You said they have like stacks. Do they have any of the? I guess that would be a. No, even in the book, it talks about Night City having the super resident skyscrapers that have like so many like small rooms. per
Cube
floor.
hotels?
Huh?
Cube hotels?
No, it's like they're like apartment buildings, but the number of people they cram into them is ridiculous.
So I'm going to say that they have those throughout Lumens Nouveau.
Okay.
Yeah. So if you find yourself with just enough cash to get you a month in one of those towns, one of those skyscrapers, you'll be able to find one pretty much in any section.
Got it.
Including industrial, because they have to have workers on site.
Right. Makes sense.
I darkened a line between M Nation and the tourist district and the central business district.
Right.
That's a giant wall.
Oh. All right then.
So, Daniel,
Yes.
does CyberPunk have coffin motels?
Yes. So, cube hotels are what they're called in this, and it's essentially your Japanese, yeah, where you slide in and it's this much space.
Yeah, like you're in the Navy.
Yep.
Understood. And I like your wall.
Got to keep them ruffians out. Damn Yankees. What color is it? His color.
Are you having trouble? Are you when you make these colors on the map here? Are you selecting them individually every time?
No, I'm using Control or Shift.
Okay, because you can also grab the fill square in the bottom right of your selected cell, and you can drag up or down to change colors. You take the color with you when you move
Oh.
your square.
That makes things a little bit easier.
Yeah, it'll make it a little fast. I noticed you've
Yeah.
been sluggish with that.
Yeah, I've been doing them like one at a time or little sections at a time when I'm doing
Yeah,
it.
I
But
can
we're all
hear it.
doing it little by little. Okay. So this section here, I'm gonna call this security row. Is actually a security checkpoint for the causeway, because the causeway it's a huge bridge that goes over the big lake north of New Orleans, and it's had some pretty serious the righteous causeway. It's had some terrorism and threats to it, so there's a big security checkpoint people actually have to go through. The I-10 doesn't have that case. The I-10 is a full road that goes all the way through with hover lanes and everything right through.
I'd love to know more about this checkpoint.
Would you like to know more?
I think you beat me to it.
Yeah. So it's a large building that you actually have to, like a big building that's been built over the causeway that you have to drive through.
Excellent.
I am going to make this section the airport. This.
Approximately, and I know that this isn't going to be exact, how big is a square?
I have no idea.
742 kilometers.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I was thinking about that earlier. I figured it'd be like a couple kilometers, like square kilometers. But it can't be like too many, right? Otherwise, this area would be
huge.
I'm trying to look at it over the map, and yeah, nah,
So I eyeballed all of it. It's not like a literal 1-for-1. So
Otherwise, the highways are like, 14
Big highways.
lanes long. Yeah.
Hey, it's the future. It's only 20 years in the future, but still the future. Never know.
Oh,
I'd like him to draw a bike lane on here, but he's not going to. So
no.
Well, I was looking at the French Quarter. I mean, if each square is a square kilometer, that would make the French Quarter like, what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2. So that's what, 9 square kilometers? That doesn't seem absurd, does it? Or am I off my rocker?
No, I'm just not worried about it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we're
that's
just
fair.
gonna figure it out.
when they
I'm
they
sure you can
rebuilt
walk
it, they rebuilt it bigger and grander than it was before. And that
Fair
was part of
enough.
the plan.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
I just keep picturing.
Or we could just
what
say
was
each
that
square is one
bar
5
quad
foot,
place?
Yeah, 1 5 foot. This is the smallest city ever.
Oh my god.
So I'm gonna put Beaverville on both sides.
Yeah,
both
and
sides.
did you see what I did underneath that? I put the garden district and government center. That's where all the
Ooh.
where there is a garden district. Garden district's the wrong way to say it, but I'm trying to think of what it's called. There is a quarter in New Orleans that is basically the garden quarter, where it was wiped out already when Katrina hit. So I don't even think it's back to the way it was. But since they're redoing everything, why wouldn't they have a awesome garden district? And of course, the government buildings are going to be there. Let me see if I can find pictures. Garden district.
Oh. Nice ad for the airport. Nice ad.
you're welcome.
Why is it down in the garden area?
I thought that was the airport.
No,
No, up above
the dark gray above it.
Expensive
Oh!
condos.
Derp derp.
Here, I'm sending this. I don't know what screen I'm sending it in. OC Cyberpunk paste. If you hit that, you'll see all the pictures of the Garden District, and they have the trolleys running through and stuff like that.
Oh.
So how are you picturing this? Are you picturing this as a cyberpunk futuristic Madison Square Gardens?
Not at all. The exact opposite.
Like an old,
Exactly like you see it in these pictures.
like they're trying to recreate that
Yep.
old.
It's
Organ-
the old
that old field.
charm and history of the South in just that one district. Well, that in the French Quarter.
Now, was this whole area like rebuilt by one corporation or multiple?
I mean, it could have been done by the government too.
Well, because I was thinking if you have one district that's kind of more sponsored by or whatever, recreated by a specific well-known corporation, but then you have like the Garden District that's kind of competing against them. Like
Well-
they're trying to recreate their idea of New Orleans, which is different than that of the people creating the big, opulent, whatever stuff in the French Quarter area.
Yeah, because I mean, the government is by how corrupt they are, they want to keep hold of the citizens, but also keep the history of the South alive. That's why I figured that should be like the most.
Like a historical district?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Most anti-cyberpunk area of the
Okay.
city. Not because they're against it, but because they're trying to show, look at us, we're the South, we're.
And so they're not like against it existing, they just kind of don't want it to be shown.
No, it's just that this area is the.
We are of the South and we carry on.
That's exactly it.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not like you can't have cyberware or anything if you work in the government district. That's not it at all. Like, there's no ban on it or anything. It's just here's our heritage and this is what New Orleans is, and the rest of New Orleans is part of New Orleans too, but this is where it started. That kind of thing.
Okay. I like that.
It's
I
almost
mean-
like a historic district.
Yeah, and that's what Naomi said. And
Yeah,
should
that's
actually,
what. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I should rename it to the Garden.
Sorry, I
District.
don't listen to most stuff she says.
Yeah. He
Wow.
doesn't have a-
Wow.
That's a good thing.
Learn
I
something about
listened.
this.
I listened to you, Naomi.
Thank you.
You kiss butt.
Only when asked nicely.
I'm the nice one.
Let's see.
Silent.
I love that we are adding emoticons and tiny little graphics.
It's LJ.
It's pretty funny.
Is that okay, or am I going over?
No, that's great.
No.
That's right.
That's awesome.
It will help, I think, us find stuff that we're looking for once this is fully filled out.
I wasn't sure if you'd like
Very
a
much.
couple of these, but you
Yes.
can delete them if you want.
That's good.
Okay. So, Mark,
Yeah.
I think you should come up with a shorter name for that. Most expensive skyscraper.
I know.
hotels.
I'm just saying that's what it is. I mean, I'm not saying that's. I'm saying that's the area where they should be. Right, I'm not naming hotels. I'm saying this one square is where they should be.
We're gonna call it Baron Square.
Baron, like Baron.
Yeah, like I am a baron,
Yep.
and I'm gonna put that in
Like a
notable
robber
locations. Like a robber
Yep.
baron, yeah. Barons.
Are you just basically inferring it's 20 years ahead Trump?
Yes,
Yeah, that's what
I
I
am actually.
I kind of.
Except successful.
Oh wow.
I'm just saying. Not that he isn't the greatest president, emperor that we've ever had, but his business
You're forced
acumen
to do
could
that
use
because
some
you're a
extra.
government contract.
Square, super rich
Yeah. Are you putting that in comment?
hotel. No, I'm putting it in the brainstorming. I will end up putting it in the comment.
Baron Square is what we called it.
Is it? You said it's the most expensive.
It's like super.
Most expensive
Super
It's a
rich
fancy
hotel.
schmancy.
skyscraper hotel.
Just call it Jay's character's home.
Yeah.
Dream home.
Dream
Oh,
home.
dream. Okay, dream home. Well,
No, it's hotels, so it's
we'll
a
see about
square
that.
of skyscraper hotels.
Yes, it's a square of skyscrapers. Hotel.
you're a square.
Your face is a square.
It is actually. And gnomes, by the way, can I call you gnomes? The portrait you see, that's my driver's license photo.
Oh, nice.
That's why when I get pulled
driver's
over, they're
license
like-
cameras were not that kind.
You're like, wow, that's like really bright.
We're gonna need to fix that. That actually, now that I'm looking at, we're gonna have to make you a bigger one,
Yeah,
So
so it shows up.
so it fills the whole thing.
Yeah.
I'll
A
work
bigger
on that.
what?
A bigger
Picture.
image. Your image is just in the very center of the screen, instead of taking up the full panel.
Oh, I didn't notice that actually, because all I did was load it in Zoom style the way they told me.
Yeah. So we'll just have to make you a bigger one, so that you can put it in there. You know what? Let me see if I can find the name of the locks. New Orleans locks.
This is going to be probably my favorite icon I'm about to put up.
Smoothie, isn't it?
No,
It is
I
a
couldn't
smooth-
find a suitable Yankee picture that didn't involve a baseball team, but I got a good industrial zone picture.
Ooh. What's the lick?
I don't know. I was just looking at that peninsula, and for some reason, it just made me think of like a tongue sticking out. So instead of coming up with anything, I just decided to go with the lick. It's just a random name, like a local name. If you don't like it, I'm happy to change it.
No, that's perfect.
Is that because of the day that it is?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tongue birthday day.
Tongue
Everything's the
birthday.
lick.
Franken tongue birthday.
Franken tongue
Perfect.
birthday.
Oh yeah, that industrial zone is cool.
Agency. I'm changing the name of the lock over here. You can keep Lock Brendan. Well,
Loch Brendan is named after Saint Brendan, which is the saint of shipwrights.
right.
Oh, cool.
So IHNC is the new name of the other one. It's a real thing called the Industrial or the Inner Harbor Navigation Canal.
You're gonna want to write that somewhere in a comment or something.
I
Yeah.
am.
Thank you. We are doing significantly more than I expected, which is awesome.
Expect a lot from us.
I will now.
Yeah, Daniel.
Yeah, great.
You guys messed up.
Oh no, we did our well. sort of did our
You messed up because now I'm gonna expect this level every time.
Comment. Paste.
I've enjoyed the brainstorming document, I think.
It's,
It's growing. I like
it's
it.
the IHNC and the backwater denizens called it the Ints.
Oh, I like that.
It's how you get Ints to the city. I appreciate your charitable chuckle.
I just see. I want to move the letters around and call it the inch.
Good. We call it the inch. Let's do it.
Okay. I don't know how we would explain why they call it the inch, but someone was dyslexic and just started calling it the inch.
Or they thought it was funny, and it became because it is funny.
Yeah.
No,
People started
because-
calling it that.
Yeah, because people are dyslexic. I mean, it is inch. I
Yeah.
was calling it ins, but inch is the same thing, and yeah, it's fine.
Okay.
The inch.
Awesome.
Inch. There we go. And this actually makes a whole lot of sense because I think it does.
Mm-hmm.
Wait a minute.
It can make as much sense as we want. We're building it.
No, I'm just thinking, is that the right place for it to come out? Because if you're smuggling into the city, would it make sense to smuggle through Beaverville, the Garden District, or the Tourist District?
So you could put, instead of putting expensive condos right there, you could put docks right there. We could put expensive condos on the other side where I have other tourist districts on the bottom. We could put expensive condos there.
Oh, I think that makes
Yeah.
sense. Yeah.
So I'll
That's
change
what I
it.
thought where you have the other tourist district below the river. That's where I thought you were going to have the more expensive.
So let's put the expensive condos over here.
Hold on. I screwed up. How do I get it to go back? Undo. Everybody stop for a second. Undo.
I ain't stopping nothing.
I don't know. Okay. I don't know what happened, Daniel. I'm sorry.
No, what's up?
It ganked some of the stuff. I don't know why.
No, you're fine.
Yeah.
I ganked it. I was working on it. What are you doing? Yeah.
Put in the expensive condos over there.
Okay.
And then these are...
And this is going to go back to being gray because it's the docks, but we can make it dark gray.
Well, we can make it red, like the other industrial zone, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we'll put a wall between Beaverville and the industrial zone.
Yep.
You can change the name of Daniel's Fairly Cool Highway if you want.
No.
We probably
No,
will, but I
that-
like it right now.
I like it.
I mean, it's silly and it doesn't belong. Get it the fuck out of there. But, I mean, beyond that... I'm just kidding, Daniel. I love you. I know. I love you too.
Hey, Mark.
Even
You know
when
what's funny?
Oh my god.
Huh?
You know what's funny? Your death save, you have to roll under your body, and getting those death save penalties are
Yep.
really easy.
Yep.
Oh my gosh.
I'm
Daniel
aware.
was telling me about that death save stuff. That's gonna kill me bad.
Don't get into combat. That's the short answer. If we get into combat, we've done something horribly
Yeah.
wrong.
Nah, I'll be in combat. Because I probably did something horribly wrong. Like, that's how I
What?
play.
What happened?
You just gave me a great idea for a gang name.
Uh-oh.
I'm going to put it in the brainstorming.
That way the
Oh,
expensive
I think
condos look
that's
out over the tourist district and the central business district.
Are we going to... You know what? I don't think it does. Does it have a Chinatown?
Yeah, we will.
Yeah,
but
it
I don't know
would.
Where you want it.
Chinatown?
But it would
It's
have...
probably in a section of the central business district.
No, it is
Alright.
destroyed.
I added the gang.
Oh, what's that?
It existed from the 1880s until its destruction by WPA redevelopment in 1937.
Oh, I like it. The new game. Death save.
Death save.
Well, looks like I know what game I'm gonna be in.
Yeah, that's their name, but they're really bad at it.
Keep saving.
Yes. I think they're trying to be ironic.
Yeah.
What was the name of the pirate group that's hanging out there?
We
Arr.
haven't picked one
So
yet.
they aren't really pirates. Not.
No, they're mercenaries on boats.
No, they're nomads.
No.
Oh, I
Um,
assumed it'd be like some kind of like Somali type situation. Where
Oh, so I haven't
It's
named
very
any.
racist.
I haven't named any of the actual pirates. I only named the flotilla that's out there that actually does business.
We should name pirates after sports teams from the area.
after what?
Oh, no.
Sports teams from the area.
Yeah, former sports teams. Like, I don't know. I find
Na-
some sports
Naomi,
teams' names. I don't know what
You're
their
gonna
names
get
are.
a +2 death save penalty
Thank you,
permanently.
sweetie.
Not your character.
The
Just
Pelican
me? What
Pirates.
the hell? I can kick your butt.
The Pelican Pirates.
The Pelican Pirates.
The-
Wait, is that
the-
an actual sports team?
Yes, New Orleans
Yeah.
Pelicans.
Those poor
Yeah, the
guys.
Saints, the
Saints.
Could be
Green
a good
Wave
one.
men's basketball.
The
Wow.
yeah, the New Orleans Jesters.
The Gold.
I'm telling you.
New Orleans
Oh.
Brass.
Buccaneers.
The
It's
Buccaneers.
not happening.
The Buccaneers.
There we go.
It
Come
has
on.
to be.
And then the
Moving
brass.
on.
And
He
then
thinks this is a
Moving
good
on.
idea. Yar.
Moving on. That's not happening.
The Buccaneer Pirates.
they just couldn't keep up. They couldn't come
You said
up
you
with
wanted
anything.
fun in this game.
See? We have to have something to like, because you know it's going to get dark. We have to balance.
I mean, you can laugh as they impale you and pull out your
The
intestines.
jesters.
Notice Daniel's not saying much, so this must not be
No,
good.
he's grumbling.
I feel like I'm kind of turning into Mark a little bit. Maybe I shouldn't be doing this. I should act like Billy and not say anything.
Oh, you guys.
That was his cue to unmute, but he didn't do it.
He's like, you're on your own, buddy.
I'm here. I'm supporting you from a distance.
Oh, are you? Good. Thank you.
Nice. Alright, so we still have 2 large areas that have very little going on in them. What do you guys think?
What large areas?
The 2 light gray areas.
Well, I can imagine that there would be industrial areas surrounding the lock,
Okay.
seen as that's kind of where goods are being moved around. It would be smarter to have any kind of manufacturing. If you have it in that area, you would want to have it close to transportation.
So that's a lot of industrial area, which I don't have a problem with.
But we
do you
need
guys
other business districts that aren't necessarily.
because not all corporations are going to be buddy right up next to each other, right?
Yeah, I
Right.
would say that there should be a good.
If we put another one over here across the Mississippi River from the historic garden district, that would give them something to look out at, just like the other one has the.
Yeah, and they would possibly have their own setup for their own Beavervilles and executive housing.
What are your thoughts?
Whose
Yeah,
thoughts?
Everybody.
I have a separate, unrelated thought that is, well, I'll just ask you, are there any quarantine zones? Because in a lot of dystopian futures, you have groups that are unclean or diseases that have come across or come about, like Corona or whatever, that just hasn't been solved, and they get shuffled into little, shanty towns and little places that almost get walled off, and they have to get food parachuted in from planes, like drones and stuff.
Yeah,
I haven't seen anything like
No,
that.
there's not in this. There have been worldwide plagues, but they have all been solved at this point.
Well, could we make one here?
I mean,
this is supposed to be a new city that is a
there could be a
salve to
dark
that.
zone though.
That's, I mean, I would imagine that's kind of what the immigrant section is. Anyone who comes to the city that's new, that's not working for a corp, is going to end up there. That's why it's
So
got
that
the
would be like
walls.
if they're in the immigrant set area, there would possibly be kind of like I don't know, a clinic zone.
So
an
it's an
area for
impractical
people.
idea. That's fine. I was just curious.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
not.
Yeah,
I'm
no,
not
you're
saying no.
right.
I'm just saying that's what the book says. I'm not saying we can't make one. I just don't know that. Do we want that?
How
I'm-
to have it.
We can.
On that same kind of idea, would there's I know the animation is going to be it's like shanty towns, and it's not the best side of town, but there are going to be areas that are just like the government and the corporations don't even want to touch it, like lawless badlands, but in the middle of the city, and not talking the swamping area. Like an underground, and it could literally be an underground, so we wouldn't necessarily see it on the maps.
Well, there
But
wouldn't.
a
There
way of
can't.
getting.
There can't be an underground because there's no one that they don't even have.
So there is a section, and I talked to you a while ago, Mark, about how there are some smugglers and stuff that still get things underneath a lot of the buildings because the water is low in certain areas.
Oh,
So there
okay.
could be an underground that is like the sewer system and that kind of stuff between where the water level currently is and the bottom of the buildings.
But it would be very difficult for people to navigate or be able to smuggle through, so you have to be really freaking good at your job.
You have to know the tides.
Yeah.
Right. Because if you're in there at high tide, everybody's dead and you've lost all your
Yeah.
stuff.
Yep. Which I kind of like as an aspect for jobs that you get.
You know,
if you
he's-
have to run smuggling during certain things, I think I like that concept.
See, he makes it sound like it's an aspect of storytelling, but he's really looking forward to killing all of us.
Oh, trust me, I'm aware.
Hey, Naomi,
Yeah,
how's that couch look?
like you'd sleep really well on it.
Yeah, I would. Prepare to sleep alone.
Nimoy.
I want to make
You
something,
wanna
but I'm
sleep with
afraid
me?
you're going to say it realms into silly, and I'm
Okay.
trying not to make it that way.
Okay.
I want a gang called the Dr. Johns, and I want them to be a healer gang.
Then why would they be a gang?
Well, so I'm getting there, right?
Okay.
Is the whole point, and this kind of plays off of what Naomi was saying before about the Inquisitors, or whatever we end up calling them, is that they're a gang who preaches natural healing as opposed to using stim packs and cyberware and stuff like that. So
They're
they
anti-vaxxers.
they're anti-vaxxers, but they go around healing people in the community who need healing. But
I
they
will
refuse
not
to use
suggest my idea.
that they
Cultures
all,
within
that they all
borders.
contract smallpox and die.
No, because we were
'Cause that's-
watching, was it
where
Future
my mind
Man?
goes.
And they're called the antibiotics. And so if they don't trust the biotics, who are the specially enhanced people, and so they're the antibiotics.
So
That's pretty funny.
in some of this gray area, especially down further south,
Mhm.
could some of it just be ruins of old New Orleans, where it's not underwater in any capacity
Oh,
and it's not
yeah.
overgrown by marshland? It's just not been reclaimed yet in any capacity.
Absolutely. So one of the things that it talks about, and we kind of glossed over a little bit, but especially for you, who you're planning on, or you're looking into being a net runner, right?
Right.
So one of the big things about net running, and you and Mark and I are going to have a couple study groups where it's just us talking. Wi-Fi doesn't exist. You have to be within 6 meters of a data point of the network you're trying to hack into. And there can't be a wall in the way. So it's almost like you have a laser jack that you have to be able to see the data point with that laser in order for you to jack into it. You have to be on the premises of the place that you're hacking. This is essentially net like 2 or 3.0. There used to be a wider network where the cities were all attached together, and there was essentially the internet. And then several viruses during the Cold Wars and after wiped out a whole crap ton of people. This thing called Rabbids went through and killed thousands, I think.
What? I'm sorry.
Rabbids, when it took down the last net.
Hundreds of thousands.
Hundreds of thousands. And so there is no more net like that. However, there are small pockets in areas that were destroyed or separated that are still powered that you can go to as a net runner and hack into it and get old information or get information that's been hidden away that is dangerous because there's things hiding in those networks, but they're small networks. So you could go into the ruins, in theory, of old New Orleans and look for some of this info or some of the files. Or
Billy, I have to ask because I don't know your background. How much about networking do you know?
Would say I know enough to realize I don't know shit, so I would call it basic.
Okay, so do you know what the difference between a T3 and a T1 is?
The lines, like I don't want to call them landlines, but like the actual.
Yep, you got it. So basically, what they did is they turned off all the major T3s, meaning that all the T1 networks are still out there and active, and you can hack into them, but they have these killer programs on them that normally cleanse anyone that they come across. However, there are actual. Do you know? Did you get to read the book at all?
It hasn't gotten there yet.
Okay, no problem. So there are ghosts of people trapped inside the net. They also live in those smaller networks, in those T1 type networks.
We're talking like the Matrix when Neo gets disconnected from his body kind of situation.
Kind of. Ghost in the Machine, right? Yeah. So they were in the network, like hardwired in. The network went down or broke, and their soul essentially got recorded as an AI, essentially, in the mainframe. And so there are some of these people that are still stuck in there. There are programs that it talks about in the book, like the Soul Killer program, which was written by one of the NPCs in the fluff a while ago. The Soul Killer program.
Dude, you have completely filled in the gap for me for how the whole voodoo religion that I want in like the middle of the marshes to work. Like that's basically. Thank you.
Yep. So the Soul Killer essentially kills you and copies a copy of your brain into the mainframe to use as essentially computer labor. Okay. Or to put you in prison.
Yep.
And Mark and I were talking about prisons in this situation a while ago, which are absolutely horrific.
Horrifying.
They're horrifying.
They basically put you on ice in suspended animation, but load you into a program to where you can still have sensory input other than sight, but you're aware and thinking for like 15 years, but you can't actually eat or do anything. You're just trapped in darkness for 15 years in solitude.
AFK.
Sounds like a quick road. I say quick road. Sounds like a very long road to insanity.
Yes.
It's disturbing and also awesome.
What's the trauma team?
What did you call the lock? It went back to its old name.
Itch.
Oh, the Inch?
It's the Inch, yeah.
Yeah, we named it the Inch.
Okay, I changed what I was saying about the Dr. Johns, Daniel. They're a propaganda game.
Oh. Okay.
Professing natural healing, and they'll have to be sponsored by an anti-trauma team corp. I just need to flesh that out a little bit more.
So, do they do crime?
Yes.
If they're doing unauthorized healthcare, it might be considered a crime.
Okay, that's fine. But I mean, should
No,
we,
no,
should we come up? Should we come up with another area and just call them like groups, notable
Okay.
groups? Versus
No,
calling
no.
them a gang?
Yeah, no, I was thinking
They could attack
zealots or
trauma
something
teams.
like that.
Ooh.
I was thinking they could attack
actually
trauma
try
teams.
to get in
I like
between
that
them
a
and that,
lot.
yeah.
If
Especially
they're,
with one of our players being a trauma team member. I like that a lot.
but we
Holy
just
crap,
need to figure
that one
out.
person's not here, so he doesn't
Approved.
have
Yeah. We just need to figure out
Anthony.
what corporation would benefit the most from trauma team pulling out of the city, and that's the corp that should be sponsoring these guys.
I like that.
I'm in pun territory, so you shouldn't ask me.
Oh, please, come on, we love puns.
Like, no, making a corporation called Doxy, where it's Dixie, but doctors of Dixie, and they're trying to take over. So it's Doxy.
Hi, my name is Doxy.
Uh-huh. I
oh
won't be
my
no,
gosh,
I
and it
won't
would
be
be
known
those
as
nurses
Doxy.
that, like, all look like stewardesses.
Plus, to like stop something is to dox it. So I'm good with this.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how you were doing that and changing colors.
Doing what?
That's neat.
Who are you talking to?
Whoever was changing that little box. Oh, JC.
Yeah.
Sorry, just kind of flipping through trying to find one that works.
Because you're making the ruins?
Yeah, I
Can
figured.
we put the ruins in the center with the industrial zones?
Oh yeah, for
And that
sure.
way we can make it more of like a danger area. But let's
I was
start
gonna
it.
do like a portion in the central and a portion off to the left. So on
Well,
both
just keep,
sides
as long
of
as we
El
keep it
Salvador.
a little further away from the business district and
Gotcha.
the expensive condos, just
So
because.
then- Okay,
Go ahead.
so you want to clear this area out in its entirety? and
Well,
not have-
no, not in the entirety. I just want to. We need to be able to put something in between them so that it's not like
Gotcha.
you have these huge neon skyscrapers, and then 2 blocks over you have the ruins of Old Orleans.
Gotcha.
So like start them maybe on the bottom coast and,
I
bring them
mean,
up.
I
and-
really have a hard time when you're being reasonable. It kind of frustrates me.
I miss you.
Yeah.
I don't.
What? You don't what? Mark?
I'm trying to.
I was gonna look something up and I forgot what it was.
That happens to the best of us.
Like, I figure whatever group we make the actual practitioners of voodoo, the Haitian community that centers around that in M Nation, they're gonna want a new Lafayette Square because old Lafayette Square is obviously no longer real. Right?
What is
It's-
Lafayette Square?
So Lafayette Square is basically where it's now it's a park, but it's also kind of been the spiritual center of voodoo. It's where you would go to practice voodoo back in the 1800s. It's where you can find shops that are centered around voodoo, and there's some fake shops, but then there's some real shops off the beaten path. So the point is that all of this is kind of corporate sponsored now, right? So the real practitioners wouldn't claim that or use that area anymore. So they'd make their own in M Nation.
Okay.
Would they, or would they do down in the swampy backwaters area where they're harder to find? I mean, there's so many islands out there. They could have one specific.
No, I mean they're out in the community now, so I wouldn't imagine that they'd
Okay.
hide away in the future, per se, unless it was outlawed or something like that. But I don't think that's going to be the case.
Oh, let's see. Would they potentially, I mean, if they're trying to create their own square, would they want to be closer to that bayou area and further north away from the Yankee district and
See,
Loch
it's
Brandon?
weird.
Because that's
I don't hear you through your mic at all now, Naomi. I only hear you through Daniel's.
that is weird.
There you go. You're back now.
Okay, it's because I was playing with the
Nope.
button.
Now you're gone again.
Oh, I was playing with the button.
There you go. Now you're back.
My mic decides to wander.
It's perfect. You,
Okay.
yeah, we could. Yeah, actually, yeah, we could do that.
Further north by the central business district, because or somewhere between. I would say personally, I would think that they'd find that whole fake French Quarter, Lafayette Square, kind of like
Offensive.
not want
Yeah.
to be. Yeah, it's offensive, and so and they wouldn't want to be too close to the potentially to the Yankee district that's being run by a totally different religious community.
Oh, I
So-
don't even think that's a religious thing. I think that's just where the Northerners
culture.
congregate. Yeah, cultural. So we'll do this as NLS, and I'll put a comment on it for New Lafayette Square.
Hey, Daniel.
I think Jay's going to turn into a pumpkin, and
Yes.
we probably will be soon too.
Oh wow. Yeah, 1019.
Yeah.
I just wanted to say thank you for having me,
Yeah, thanks for coming, man.
Good talking to you.
and I appreciate being included. Naomi, it was good to finally meet you, I guess,
Yeah.
face to non-face.
It was good to meet you too. I look forward to more game time.
Yeah, you almost said playing, but you changed your mind.
I almost said play, and it turned to game, and yeah.
Yeah. It's all right. I'm probably just as weird as these other guys anyway, so.
I'm used to it. It's-
Weirder.
Billy, good to talk to you again.
Same.
Mark,
Yeah. Yeah.
we don't want to get too familiar.
Have a good evening.
Yeah, and Daniel,
Yeah, have a good
when
night.
is the next time where we need to bring our umbrellas for brainstorming?
Next week is Thanksgiving. The following week is Exalted.
Yes.
So probably the 10th.
Okay, because I've been looking at the game schedules document just to make sure that I'm not missing anything.
Yeah, I think 10 December is supposed to be a study group for actual system stuff.
And who is to attend?
Whoever can.
Everyone, yeah.
Because it looks like, Daniel, you're not available that day, according to the schedule, and neither is Mark. So me and Billy getting together and we're just chilling,
10
or what?
December. No, 10 December is when Cyberpunk 2077 comes out.
Yeah,
Yep.
they'll be
Yep,
gone.
we'll be gone.
I won't even see him. Actually, I will, because I'm watching the video game he's going to be playing.
Yep.
So the 10th is out.
The 10th is out, yeah.
The
Well, I say the 10th is out. I might still get together for a short, if we go over combat or if we go over net running quickly.
And the worst part is I'm actually gone for a completely different reason. I forgot that was that day. Oh, no. 17th is when I'm gone for that. Never mind. Yeah, I'm gone for CyberPunk.
Yeah.
Well, in that case, could I ask you for a personal, like, I don't know, I guess a one-on-one or maybe for an hour about stuff, about extra things on the side on some day would be good for me anyway.
Who are you talking to?
You, Daniel.
Oh, okay. I didn't know if you were talking to Mark because Mark was just finished talking. Yeah, sure. That's no problem.
Cool. Well, I will stay in touch with you then.
Yeah, please do.
All right. Take care, everybody, and it was good seeing you.
You too.
All right,
Yeah.
talk to you
Good
later.
Good
night.
night.
Bye to all the Twitchers or Tweetchers or whatever they're called.
Yeah.
All right,
Good
bye.
night.
Bye.
I need to get a better mic setup.
Of
Daniel, I love that your name is Beatbot.
Is what?
It says Beatbot on the Zoom
It usually says KO Pike, so I have to change it.
because it keeps changing stuff. Hey, speaking of the devil, what are you doing? Oh, hi. You can go. We're talking about you changing Dad's Zoom stuff.
No, he hasn't changed it. He logged into it once and it saved it.
yeah, and same for the Cyberpunk DJ right now. I keep having to change it from Daniel because
Don't
I let
worry
you
about
log in once. It is constantly Daniel every time I launch it on this machine now. I'm like, why? I changed it and it still goes back.
This filled out really fast, this map.
I think this might be my my time to go as well. It's pretty late over here.
Yeah.
No, I appreciate you coming, man.
Yeah, thank you, Billy.
So
Yeah.
read up what you can. If you have any questions at all, feel free to hit us up. Net running is its own chapter, and it's kind of weird. So I expect you'll probably have questions.
Yeah, for sure.
But a lot of the fluff in the book is amazing, and
Yeah.
this stuff is still saved in here. So if you guys have ideas, obviously come back and add things, and I'm going to be adding things, and I'm going to start the play-by-post pretty soon, so we'll be able to do that too.
Sweet.
And I think I'll go ahead and sign off the lovely stream, since we seem to be winding down, as soon as I find something. So talk amongst yourselves for 1 second.
Okay.
That's not very much time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
What kind of conversation we can have? Like me convincing Daniel that all our pirate gangs could be named after sports.
Old Nolans. I like that. I like that a lot.
Yep.
I like it.
And on that note, we'll be dreaming of different pirate names.
Nice.
Take care, man. Have a good night.
Yeah, have a
Nice.
good
Yeah,
one.
good one.
Thanks for coming, bro.
Yeah, thanks. Bye.
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 Oh, that's fantastic. It looks like the stream just crashed.
Really?
It
Maybe.
did close down. I thought you closed it down.
No, I was trying to change things so that I could grab input, and it just totally killed itself.
Yay.
Yay. Oh, wait a minute. It's still broadcasting. I refreshed it. It's still broadcasting. It's probably as a separate one.
Oh.
That's all right. I'm going to pretend I'm in my right mind and do this anyways. Copy, just in case. Take it back to this one and then paste. Great. Well, thanks for watching, everybody. As always, if you'd like to support us, you can do so by clicking the follow button on Twitch, or if you have the ability, hit that subscribe button, and you'll become one of our rock stars. On YouTube, make sure you hit the like, subscribe, and the bell notification so you get notified every time we upload new content, which is every single day of the week, Monday through Friday. Or you can head over to patreon.com/gamersledge, where you can get your name on every single show that we do, just like the fine folks that are heading up the left side of my screen right now, all of our Patreon and Twitch producers. For Billy, for Jay, for Daniel, for Naomi, and myself. Hey, God, and I'll have to remember Anthony, too. That's a lot of people to remember. Thanks for watching. Until next time, game on.
Game on.
Yeah, you're gonna need to start changing your schedule so it has this schedule on Thursday, so his schedule doesn't have this stream on Thursday.
Keep watching. Keep watching. Oh, he's just been muted.